Young, dumb American, arrogant, throwing fits, ripping shit, tearing it, imperative. Then I'm killing this mic no matter where I live. These derelict rappers acting a fool, this embarrassing is flagrant. That's the nature of this entertainment, and we can't even change it. Guilty before arraignment, now the system tainted. But when we speak, they all laugh at us. And y'all wonder why I'm lacking trust. Try to fight a giant with attorneys that can back them up. That's church versus science, both sides start acting up. I'm late on my assignment, hopping up a mile high, climbing, obviously never silent. New alignment, I'm defiant, can I describe it? Used to describe it as a young graffiti artist. Before the beard, I always got carded. At every bar, even though my bar's been the hardest. The scars on my face, and I ain't always been the smartest. But I'll show you where my heart is. I said I'll show you where my heart is. I can show you where my heart's at. See it on my sleeves. Even if the beat stops, my soul will not leave. If I never stood tall, nobody will ever see. I can show you where my heart's at. See it on my sleeve. I can show you where my heart's at. See it on my sleeve. Even if the beat stops, my soul will not leave. If I never stood tall, nobody will ever see. I can show you where my heart's at. See it on my sleeve. I can show you where my
the type of guy that would ride with the breeze. I'm higher than most people. I'm cold and icicle freeze. I'm liking to Mike Tyson. I'm a bison, a beast. I'm hot like Jamaica, like right by the beach. My pops is from a spot where they're fighting for peace. 8 years old out there watching people fight in the streets. All these sirens only make the violence increase. Yeah, we're still not loving police. It's that bright young American, nice, dumb, arrogant, tight on a mic, but he might need a therapist. Heart full of kerosene, head full of fairy tales. Said that you're my homie, you don't know me, but I know you very well. Roll back on some West Coast shit. This whole track is wetter than your dress code kiss. About to hit the track, running on some retro fit. I guess I'll lit, I guess I'll bitch. Now let's go.
I can show you where my heart's at. See it on my sleeve. Even if the beat stops, my soul will not leave. If I never stood tall, nobody will.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is Tuesday, May 2nd, hanging with my boy, and we got some stuff to discuss tonight. How you doing, my guy?
Oh, I'm doing good, buddy. I'm doing good. Finally back to normal. The long week. We'll talk about it, but it's good, man. Better than I was expecting.
As you can tell, Pinky's super excited this evening. Oh yeah, we got lots to discuss. Lots to discuss. NBA. We'll little smidgen of NHL in there, and then draft. And Pinky's got some story time tonight. We haven't had a Pinky story time in a while, so get a little Pinky story time. We'll give our draft analysis recap kind of stuff, and go from there. Anything you want to mention? Give out to the people. Words of wisdom before we start jumping into the NBA.
Oh, let's just talk some ball, baby. Let's talk some ball.
Well, I really want to start with the Nuggets. Like, no joke, really, really want to start with the Nuggets, but we can't. We can't because the Nuggets are second round. They got through the Timberwolves fairly easily, like we talked about. Did their work, and now they're in the second round. But there is something that went down on Sunday that has to be discussed, has to be talked about. We got to spend a little bit of time on it. And I am talking about Mr. Chef Curry himself and them Golden State Warriors laying a beatdown in a Game 7 on the Sacramento Kings and lighting their own damn beam.
They did light the beam. They did. Oh, my God, did they?
Now, for anybody that follows us on any of the social medias, mainly Facebook, because that's the only one I really am on. Pinky handles the other ones because he's way better at it than I am. Anybody that's listened to us in the past knows I'm a big Steph Curry guy. I've loved him since Davidson. I have followed him closely since then. And I have been an avid supporter of his as a complete basketball player, not just the greatest shooter of all time. And Pinky can attest to this. I'm not just jumping on some kind of bandwagon. I was driving the damn bus for a minute. My dude hung 50 in a Game 7. You know what that is, Pinky?
History.
That's right. The most points ever scored. Nobody. The history of the league. Put that into perspective. The history of the league. That is the most points ever scored in a Game 7. I'm going to just wash over people right now. Let it sink in a little bit.
It's absurd. It's just absurd.
So, a couple things. I'm tired of this lame, lazy narrative that Steph Curry is a combo guard or a 2 guard, and he's not a true point guard. Frankly, it angers me a little bit because it is such a terrible analysis of what this man does. He's a point guard. And I say that as someone who played point guard growing up. People have this idea in their mind that a point guard is somebody who just dishes out assists. No. You know what a point guard is? It's somebody who is the leader of the team most of the time. He is the man who runs and creates the offense, and the offense goes through that person continuously. If you watch Game 7, Steph Curry brought that ball up more often than not. First mark. Second mark, that man runs the offense. Whether it's on ball or off ball, that offense runs through Steph Curry. Third, he might be the best leader in the entire NBA. Quiet leader, does it behind the scenes in the locker room with his play on the court. And fourth, everybody that says, well, he's not creating opportunities for his teammates, then you don't know anything about basketball. Sorry, but you don't. I don't want to hear it. Man averages 6.5 assists for his career. And because of what he does on and off ball and the amount of motion he creates, that is exactly what he does to assist his teammates in creating opportunities for others than himself. Lastly, he makes his teammates better. Without Steph Curry, you don't have 2 other Hall of Famers on that team in Klay Thompson and Draymond Green. I don't want to hear people talking about Draymond just is in a system and he plays it perfectly. That's what a good basketball player does. He knows his role and he plays to it. Draymond is a defensive player of the year. Draymond has 4 championships with that team. Klay Thompson is not a self-made man. Klay Thompson has come out and said there's no Klay Thompson without Steph Curry. Now, Steph may not be as great as he is without Klay Thompson and Draymond, but name me one superstar that has done it on his own and not had other good or great players around him.
I think it might be my
nothing from anybody. Are you not hearing me? You breaking up? What's going on?
You're cutting out on my end, and I don't know if it's me or you.
Oh man, you're getting a little fuzzy at times. I wasn't sure if you were cutting in or out though. I think it might be your
me.
internet.
Let me try to. I'm gonna jump out.
All right, jump out and jump back in. So, I've been saying for a while now, Steph Curry is a top 10 all-time player. I've been saying for a little while that I do believe there's a strong case to be made that he is now the best point guard of all times in the NBA. In the history of the game, he has passed Magic Johnson because of what he is able to do. You want to pick Magic? I got nothing against that. Love Magic, love his game. I think he is a phenomenal talent. I think if he was playing in today's NBA, he would have learned to have a better shot. His rookie year, Finals MVP, played all 5 positions against the Celtics. Magic's phenomenal. But when it comes to what they can do on the offensive end, I think they're equal. They just do it a little bit differently. As far as the defensive end, neither one is a great defender. They're serviceable. They both improved throughout the course of their careers. But Magic wasn't some kind of all-time stopper on the defensive end. He wasn't even known for playing defense. That wasn't his thing with the Showtime Lakers. So all the points I made about Steph for why he is an all-time great are the same things I'd be saying about Magic. They just do it differently. Oh, that's clear now. You're clear here, sir. Steph runs the point different than Magic ran the point. It's that simple. But the game has also evolved. So to sit here and expect a point guard to look the same as it did in 1979 through 1992 is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. If you don't want to give Steph his flowers, that's on you. You're simply a hater. I don't like going name calling, but you just are. You're a hater. There's a lot of old heads sitting out there who are going to call, LeBron James the best basketball player they've ever seen over Jordan, but they won't even have the conversation about Steph being the best point guard they've ever seen over Magic Johnson. Like, it's hypocritical. And what I saw come Monday morning on all the talking head shows, boy, a lot of people are jumping on that bandwagon that I've been riding through for a while now. All of a sudden, everybody wants to have this conversation. Steph throws up a 50-piece in Game 7 and wins, and all of a sudden now everybody's like, now we got to have the conversation.
I don't know if I'd say he's the greatest point guard. I see him just as a shooter. He does play some point, but he's a shooter, and he's probably the best all-time shooter of all time.
So you missed all the points I just said, didn't you? You didn't hear any of them because you're breaking up.
Well, I was hearing you just fine until I closed everything. Then I didn't hear whatever points you were making.
Well, so you heard the 5 things I said about his leadership, his controlling the offense, making his teammates better, averaging 6.5 assists for his career. You heard all that, right?
I mean, I think you can have I think I heard some of that. You can have the conversation. If he's your guy, that's cool. Like, that's cool. I don't see him quite as, like, that guy to me, but he's definitely the greatest shooter of all time. So you can call him the greatest shooter of all time, but don't act like that's the only thing he does well. He might have the best handles of all time. He's got excellent vision. He's one of the best leaders of all time. I don't think it's just that clear cut. Like, I don't see anything that he's done that makes it that clear cut that he's the best point guard of our time.
Look, personal opinion. If you want to pick Magic, pick Magic. But don't sit here and tell me there's not a conversation to be had and it can't go either way. That's what I'm trying to say. I think it's a coin flip. And whichever side of that coin you want to fall on, I'm totally cool with. But I'm tired of people saying, like, you can't talk about Steph being better than Magic. He's the only unanimous MVP in league history. You don't get a unanimous MVP if you're just the greatest shooter of all time. Like, there's a lot of things here that have stacked up over the years that make him all-time great, not just the greatest shooter ever. That's one of his attributes. Just like Magic is the best passer of all time, that's one of his attributes. But there are so many more things each guy does that conversation needs to be had completely, not just with these tiny little pockets here and there.
Well, all he does is win, baby. All he does is win.
True statement, too. I'm going to say something else. All these people who talked about, and I've said this the whole time, this is not a new stance for me. I've never changed this position. When Kevin Durant was on the Golden State Warriors, he was not the best player on that team. Everybody wants to say he was. He got the finals MVPs. He played really well. I'm not going to take any of that away from him. But Steph was willing to, as one of the greatest leaders of all time, as somebody who just wants to win and doesn't care about his own personal stats, he was willing to take a back seat to somebody who knew could help his team and allow that person to shine and play his role a little bit of where he needed to in order for the team to have greater success. You don't do that unless you're all-time great. You don't do that unless you're completely satisfied with where you're at as a person, as a ball player, as an individual. He is the best player on his team. He's got 2 MVPs. Durant only has 1. He now has a final MVP. Durant has 2. Steph has more championships than Durant. Steph has won before Durant, with Durant, and after Durant. Durant has won nothing without Steph Curry. Let's start putting these things into perspective. Kevin Durant is a really good player. He is an all-time great player. He is not an all-time top 10 player. Steph Curry is.
Absolutely.
Cheers, my dude. So, you want to have a conversation? I'm down to have a conversation. I can go point for point why if you don't have Steph in your top 10, if you don't have him on equal footing with Magic, I'm going to ruin your day. Because plain and simple, if you know anything about the game, you watch it and you understand it, there's zero argument to have him outside the top 10 now, and there's zero argument to not have him on the same level as Magic as a point guard. Period.
He's not lying out there, guys. He will ruin your day. He will. He's good at it.
So
talk about what with the Warriors winning that game.
That's what I'm going for next. So with Mr. Steph Curry carrying his Warriors to the next round, and Klay Thompson said he will forever remember that game as the Steph Curry Game 7. That's the man who scored 35 points in a quarter, okay? Let's keep these things into perspective. They are now – that's a solid whiskey. We've always said that's a solid whiskey. They now move on to the second round to play the Golden State Warriors and Mr. LeBron James. How many championships does LeBron James have?
4.
That's right. How many does Steph Curry have?
4.
Ooh. So while the winner needs to, if whoever wins this series advances to the finals and wins again, I think it puts one above the other. People want to talk about LeBron being the second greatest player of all time. Some people have him as the greatest player of all time. I do not. He's top 10. I'm not going to give out an order or anything right now. He's top 10. But with the two of them matching up in the second round of the Western Conference semifinals to advance to the Western Conference finals with a chance to make it to the championship, this series means something. And I'm going to say it right now. I said Warriors in 6 or 7. They won in 6 or 7. They got it in Game 7. I see easily the Warriors winning in 6. I'm actually going to pick them to win in 5.
Oh, damn. Damn. 5?
Yep.
Street Clothes is still healthy, right?
He is. But did you see how inconsistent he was against the Memphis Grizzlies? Now he's going to have guys like Draymond and Looney all over him. LeBron has definitely showed that he can still play at an elite level, but his supporting cast was incredibly inconsistent. LeBron even had a really down game in Game 5. I'm sorry, Game 4. I apologize. Game 4, LeBron had a really down game. So I'm not sitting here looking like the Lakers are some unstoppable force. I don't see anything that the Lakers have that are going to be able to beat the Warriors. The most I see it going to 6, but I do have the Warriors in 5. A lot of it with is the Lakers have nobody to guard Steph Curry, period. The Lakers also have nobody to guard Klay Thompson. And Looney and Draymond are going to make Street Clothes series a living hell. And with how inconsistent he is and his lack of being able to show up in big minutes, in big moments, I don't see the Lakers being able to do anything, honestly. And let's be honest, Memphis was down. Memphis was playing with a moron in Dylan Brooks, who they just came out today and said there is zero chance, there is nothing that could change their minds. He is not coming back to the Memphis Grizzlies. That's how much he ruined the team. The organization came out today and publicly stated there is no way he's coming back to this team. John Morant missed some time. They were without Steven Adams. Desmond Bane didn't really show up in that series. Aaron Jackson didn't really show up in that series. No, Memphis looked awful.
They missed Adams. They missed Adams a lot.
Big time. Big time. He is a veteran leader on that court, and without him, they struggled drastically. They need an overhaul of that team. The mindset, the attitude. Memphis was bad, just plain bad. And the Lakers struggled with them at times. So I don't see anything the Lakers are going to do that are going to be able to overcome what the Warriors are capable of. Let's keep in mind, Andrew Wiggins is back. He's playing pretty well. And, oh, by the way, they're the defending champions. And it's basically the exact same team that won the championship last year that is playing again this year. So, I'm not seeing really any issues with what the Warriors are going to have. Now that we got that all out of the way, we'll get to the Eastern Conference in a second. But Pinky, this might surprise you a little bit. My Nuggets confidence.
Hold on. Let's finish with the Nuggets. I got a big one.
No. I'm going right into them. I'm not waiting anymore. I'm not waiting because the Eastern Conference is going to be a quick conversation.
I've got something special for the Nuggets.
Why? Let's just do it now.
No, we finished with the Nuggets.
Talk
the Eastern Conference. Trust me, you're going to like this. You're going to like it. I promise.
I was hyped. I was going to start it off with the Nuggets. But Steph went and threw a 50-piece down in Game 7. I had to talk about it first. Fine.
I know.
Ruined my momentum.
I'm pumped up about the Nuggets. I've got a lot to say, but I've got something really special for you and the audience. So, and I think you're going to dig it. So let's finish with that.
All right. You're bringing me down right now. You better build it back up. Eastern Conference. I'm going to start with Giannis and his words. Are you familiar with this, Pinky? What he said after Game 7 loss?
No, I think I remember. I did see something, but I don't remember exactly what it
was.
Giannis
talked about how there's no such thing as failure in sports. I love Giannis, but come on, man. Let's be honest. Like, I get you were frustrated. I get you guys didn't accomplish the goals you had set. But that right there, that line right there, if you did not accomplish the goals that you set out to do, you failed. Period. That's the definition of failure. It doesn't have to be this awful negative connotation word that you want to discuss and be scared of.
We know you know what he was doing. He was just trying to back the fan base off the ledge, back the team off the ledge, and just like, hey guys, we still had a good year. Unfortunately, losing like that was epic. I mean, that was epic.
And let's be honest, you didn't have a good year. You lost in the first round as the 1 seed. You didn't have a good year, Giannis. Period. You failed. Let's admit it. It's okay to admit you failed as long as you're willing to learn and grow from it. That's all he had to say. Yes, we failed. We didn't accomplish our goals. I have no problems admitting that. I'm going to learn from this. I'm going to grow, and I'm going to come back stronger next year. But he didn't do that. He tried to backtrack and walk around the subject like the reporter asked him something that's the stupidest question in the world. The way it was asked, the way it was worded, not a great way by the reporter. But Giannis's answer was a joke. And all these people coming out going, oh, my God, that was brilliant. I loved what he said. Show this to all your young kids. Let them hear this. Let them learn from this. No! Hell no! No! You do not teach your kids that there's no such thing as failure. You do not teach their kids that there is no such thing as failure in sports. You do not teach your kids that there's no winners and losers. That's what sports is all about. That's the entire definition of sports. There's a winner and a loser. The sooner people will come to terms with that again and be okay with winning or losing and doing it in a graceful manner and realizing you can learn from either experience, the better off everybody's going to be. That's why we have participation trophies. That's why we have orange slices, and they're all a joke.
Yeah, I mean, I think he could just come out and say, we failed this year. We're going to come back stronger next year. It's a bummer because they really had a good shot. I mean, overall, them and Boston look like the best in the East, and they'd have a good shot to win that title. So having them get knocked out in the first round against a Miami Heat team that's just so up and down. They play good defense, but they generally don't score on that same level as the Bucks. But I mean, Giannis was hurt for a couple games and maybe not at full strength when he did come back. So
now he did say something. He did say something after all of that I did really love. And he said flat out, Miami was playing to beat us. We were playing for a championship. And basically what he said, in not so many words, I'll paraphrase a little bit for him to not give you the whole quote, but basically what he was saying was, we screwed up. We were looking past them. We did not take them as seriously as we should have, and that cost us. That I can respect. That I can get behind. That is honesty and a true leader.
You always got to take care of business, period. Always got to take care of business, no matter what. The Miami Heat moved on, and they're playing the Knicks as we speak. And it looks like the Knicks are going to pull this one out to tie the series.
Knicks are up 4 with a minute left in the game, but Miami took game 1. They're playing this game without Jimmy Butler.
Dude, and they're in the game.
Yeah.
Like if you told me that they were going to be 4 points down in the fourth quarter, I'd have been like, you're out of your mind. Because Brunson and Randall both played.
Look, I told you before the playoffs started, Miami's sneaky good. Their regular season wasn't great. Their offense was a little hit or miss. But I told you playoff Jimmy is a real dude, and pay attention. And he's showed out to be a real dude. If he cannot come back in this series because of his ankle, it will be hard for Miami to overcome the Knicks full strength. But we'll wait and see. It looks like the Knicks will take game 2. Series will be tied going back to Miami. So that'll be interesting to see what happens. On the other side of the East semifinal, you've got Philly and Boston. I'm out on Boston. I thought they were the second best team. I thought they'd show up once playoffs rolled around. They're playing just as inconsistent as they did last year. And last year I said the only reason they got to the finals is because Bucks didn't have Chris Middleton. And Boston right now, they lost game 1 with Philadelphia not having Joel Embiid. You can't do that. Yeah. You can't drop that game on your home court.
Somehow Harden came out and had a game. He never plays in the playoffs. It's amazing.
I will give it to James Harden. He had a quote after that game basically saying, look, I went into this year saying I'm going to do whatever the team needs me to do to win. If he had done that when he was at Houston, there's a good chance Houston beats Golden State and has an NBA championship. There's a very good chance James Harden is walking around with an NBA championship ring right now if he played like this in Houston.
If he'd have played like that in OKC, man, he would have definitely gotten a ring.
He was still pretty young then, and he was coming off the bench. God knows why, but he was their 6th man in OKC. But I mean, still, when you look back on that, I believe it was the 2012 finals against the Heat. That young Oklahoma City team, I'm amazed that they didn't try to keep that core together with Ibaka and Durant and Westbrook and Harden, Steve Adams. Man. And I'll tell you right now, just side note, OKC won't make that mistake again. That's why they're building the young core they are right now, and they will make sure they keep all those guys this time. They won't be trading any of them away this time. I'll guarantee you that. So
they will not.
Boston, Philly. Side note again, congrats to Joel Embiid. Announces the league MVP this year. I said for a long time it's a coin flip between him, Giannis, and Joker.
Look, let's be honest. If Joker doesn't sit out the last 3 weeks of
basically
the season,
2 weeks, 3 weeks, yeah,
he probably would have won the third one. But while he was sitting out, Embiid was putting up 50 burgers.
I struggle with that. I'm not sure because I think the media, as dumb as they are, they've got this idea in their head that they couldn't make him a 3-time MVP. They just couldn't. They couldn't make him a back-to-back-to-back MVP. That was the narrative rolling around, and I don't know if they would have done it, even if he had played the last 2-3 weeks.
If he had continued playing the last 3 weeks, he would have probably finished the season averaging a triple-double. And I have no doubt he would have won his third straight MVP. So this year kind of felt like the first year Joker won it. Like Embiid was on a tear that year, and then he missed about a month. Embiid did. And that's where Joker kind of overtook it, and then he just ran with it, and he won. I feel like this was kind of like the opposite, like where Joker sat the last 3 weeks, and Embiid took it and ran with it, and he got it. And deservedly so. If you gave it to Joker, Giannis, or Embiid, I think all 3 guys deserved it. They all had hell of a season. They were all the top, they had their teams, at the top of the league. I just like, and I have, some Nuggets fans are pretty hurt about it, and I was just like, guys, Embiid had a really great year. He led the league in scoring. A lot of times that wins you MVP when you lead the league in scoring. He
first center to do it since the 70s with Bob McAdoo. I mean, there's some history there that he put up.
So don't feel bad about it. Joker cares more about winning a ring than winning an MVP right now. And those last 3 weeks of him sitting and just kind of staying healthy has had him play very well in the playoffs, and that's helping us. So kudos to Embiid. He's not playing. He was out game 1. He might be out game 2. He might be out for the rest of the series with his knee.
There is talks that it's more serious than they had originally thought. If he's out for the series, I don't see Harden being able to carry the Sixers past Boston. As inconsistent as Boston's played and can play, I can't see Harden by himself carrying that team past Boston to the Eastern Finals. I just can't see it. Embiid can't miss more than 2 games. They've already got the split. Even if they lose game 2, they've already got the split on the road. They go back home with home court advantage in their pocket already. So if Embiid misses the first 2 games and that's it, Philly's got a legit chance, and it could be a coin flip easy. If he misses more than that, I can't see Philly winning this series. So that's going to be a big deal. Right now, I will say if Embiid comes back and he can play, let's say it goes to 7 games. If he can play the last 5 games of this series, I will say Philly in 7. If he doesn't come back by game 3, I will say Boston in 6.
Yeah, it's just gonna be tough to beat Boston without Embiid every single game.
Now, the Miami Knicks series, going back to that, I like Miami in this series because I don't think Jimmy Butler's going to miss more than this game, to be honest with you.
Well, I think they get a 3-day rest after this game.
Yeah, they get a nice long layoff, so it helps a lot. We'll see what happens. 26, did I just see that right? 26 seconds left, and Miami's only down 3. Miami could steal one again. Be careful. But I like Miami to win this series. I don't know in how many games right now because it's such a toss-up in the air. Call it 7, Miami advances.
Miami winning that first game helps. You know, they sit Jimmy in this one. They have 3 days off. They'll go home for the next 2 games. I mean, I think they got to feel pretty good about their chances.
We will see. We will see. All right, are we done with the East, Pinky? I'm ready. I got more to say on the East. I just don't really want to right now because I got so much to say about my Nugs right now.
The floor is yours, my man.
All right, I'll start us off with 2 things, and then we'll kind of move on from there, and you can jump in right after this. 3 things. Sorry, 3 things. They kind of tie together, so 3 things. My confidence level has gone from 51% Nugs finals champions. I'm now at 85-90. Off of that one game, I jumped all of that. This is why. I think, personally, that is the best game this group of Nuggets has ever played together. This is why. No, game 2. The game they just won yesterday. And this is why. They won an ugly, gritty, dirty game. They have never done that like that. They won a game that maybe they probably shouldn't have. They don't do that. They came together. They stayed in it the whole game. They played really great defense as a team. Jamal did not have a great game. Joker stepped up huge. The bench was great. KCP 4-for-4. Aaron Gordon held Kevin Durant to 24 points.
Jamal went 3 for 15, 0 for 9 from 3-point land, and they still won by 10 points. That's disgusting.
That is why I believe this is the greatest game this team has ever played together. I'm not going to say it's the greatest game in Nuggets history. I'm saying this is the greatest game this group has had as Nuggets. And it was a huge, huge step for them.
Game 1 was probably the best shooting game I've seen from the Nuggets all season.
Offensively, it was a great game.
Because they, literally, Jamal was hot. Joker was doing his thing. MPJ. Aaron Gordon was hitting from 3. Bruce Brown was adding in. Like, it was, man.
It was good.
It was so good.
Game 1 was good. Great way to start the series. It was not Game 2. Game 2 is the way champions are made. Game 2 is the way you put a ring on your finger. Game 2 is how you get banners hung in your arena. You're not going to win every game on a stellar offensive performance. You're not going to win every game leading by 20 the entire time. It just doesn't happen. You've got to learn how to win dirty, win gritty, play solid defense, and come together as a whole unit. And that's what Game 2 finally showed me they're capable of doing. Which, you've heard me all season, Pinky. That was one of the things I said had me worried, is they haven't been able to show that they could do that. They haven't been able to show that they can stay consistent when things go wrong. And Game 2 changed all of that for me. It's what I've been waiting to see all season. And I saw it Game 2 in the playoffs, second round, Western Conference Finals, against what many people had as the favorite to come out of the West. Big time. Big time. And on top of that, I think there's a very strong argument to be made that was Jokic's best game of his career. Because everything around him wasn't working very well. And he went and hung 35, 15, and 5 game.
39.
Well, I'm saying it was when you're looking at has anybody ever done this type of thing? 35, 15, 5. Nobody in Nuggets history has ever hung those numbers. Yes, he had 39. I believe he had 16 rebounds. And it was 6 assists, I think, total.
Actually, technically, he had that same stat line last year in the playoffs.
I know, but they lost.
They did.
They didn't advance last year. He did it this year, big time moment. You got to put all of this into perspective. Has he done it before? Yes. Was it in this type of game, on this type of stage? No. Did they win on that other time he did it? I don't believe so. If I remember correctly, they lost still. This is a different level that he played last night. He put the team on his back, which a lot of people have kind of said he doesn't necessarily always do. He went out there and said, no. I got you guys tonight. You jump on here, we're rolling. You stick with me, you stick behind me, I will carry us tonight and we'll win. And he did. It was a masterful performance. All things considered, all the context put into it. Well, I think it is his best game of his career. And if you don't want to put it best, that's fine. It's easily top 3.
You can put it on the list for sure. It's in the playoffs, big game. Putting the Suns down 2-0. With as bad as the shooting was, the Suns should have stole that game. As bad as it was, Nuggets came out on top, man. So yeah, if you put it in his top 5, no problem with that.
Chris Paul went out too. That would have been a devastating loss if they had lost with Chris Paul going out as well.
Yeah, for sure. And I think the dynamic of the Suns changed as soon as he went out because Cam Payne's not running the floor like Chris Paul. Chris Paul is definitely a really damn good point guard. So
whether you think his game has declined or not, that's completely separate from the type of leader he is on the court and what he brings outside of just his basketball abilities. So that was a huge loss for them. Pinky, what did I say about the Suns going into the playoffs? Not even before they played the Nuggets. What did I say about the Suns going into the playoffs?
They have no depth. They're not going to make it.
Nuggets in 4. Chris Paul has already been announced as missing games 3, 4, and 5. He will be reevaluated after game 5. There won't be a game 5. Remember this? Remember Suns guy? Yeah. Nuggets are going to redeem that this year.
Trust me. That dude is losing his mind right now.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Nuggets sweeping the Suns. And all those talking heads that didn't want to show the Nuggets respect, didn't want to talk about how great they were, wanted to prop up the Suns on the basis of 2 guys when we're playing a team sport. This isn't golf. This isn't tennis.
I think Kyrie and Luka showed you, like, you can have 2 dudes that put up 70 points a night together. But that didn't equal to wins.
Yeah, but let's easy there. There is no comparison of Durant and Booker compared to Luka and Kyrie is a cancer.
I'm not making them.
Kyrie is a cancer, my guy.
Top scorers.
I get that, but
they scored most of the team's points, and it doesn't equal to wins. That's what
I understand where you're going, and that's true. It's a good point, but I can't allow that comparison because they're Durant and Booker are good team dudes. They just are. Luka maybe still is on the fence there. It's hard to say at times, but I think he is. Kyrie's not. Kyrie is about Kyrie, and he kills teams. I don't care what anybody says. You can be a Kyrie fan of his individual game, but don't be so blind about how great he is individually to not look at history and what he's done to every team he's been on. He's destroyed them. And that's not Durant or Booker. So,
I'm not comparing.
But I get what you're saying. They gave up everything to get Kyrie and bring him in. They were left with nothing. I don't know what people were looking at. Durant is not great enough to overcome not having anybody else to play. I told you Ayton wasn't ready for the moment. He's got some talent, but he's not ready for the moment. I told you Chris Paul has lost a step, and he has, plain and simple. He's not the dude that can go out there and give you 20 and 15 anymore. It just isn't. Booker was on fire last night. Booker showed you why he is a superstar in this league.
That whole team was cracking, though. In that fourth quarter, they were complaining about every call.
Oh, yeah.
Everything. I was just like, bro, you're not going to go to the line and shoot free throws if you're just shooting beyond the arc. Like, they're not going to call that. Get over yourselves.
So
here's my confidence level, Caleb. And I think this worked out for us before. So I'm going to throw this out again this year. If the Nuggets win the championship, I will get a Nuggets tattoo. I've got a really nice spot for it. And I'm going to put a little Joker, like a little Joker avatar as well to go with it.
All right.
I'm going to get this logo. And we're going to make it happen if the Nuggets win the finals and get that ring. I'm on board. In fact, I got my Nuggets shot glass.
Mr. Pickaxe, I like it, son. I'm down for that.
Man of my word.
You are. You definitely are.
No, Cody. I was gonna do a Broncos one on this forearm because I got the Bronco D over here, but now I'm thinking I could just do the Nuggets over here. We'll see. I'll find a good spot for it. But Pinky will put some more ink on his body if the Nuggets win a championship. I'm all in. Let's do this.
So, final point. I'm not just at an 85 that they come out of the West, Pinky. I'm an 85 that they win it all after what I saw this last weekend. The Nuggets team is only getting stronger as these playoffs roll around. I think they are head and shoulders above everybody else right now as a team. I think people need to start showing some respect. They are the NBA favorites right now. Now, I always believed that, but my confidence was a 51 before that they would get it done. I'm telling you right now, and I don't think it's an overreact at all. What they did in Game 2 and what they showed me in Game 2 after closing the Timberwolves out in 5 in the first round was everything I've been waiting to see to give me the confidence I needed to say this is their year finally.
One thing I've noticed in the last two games especially, they're playing some good defense. And I think that will help them as they continue on. And I tell you, man, Christian Braun, I'm going to have to get me a Christian Braun Nuggets jersey. I sent you that 3-minute clip of his dunks during the season. He's scrappy. He plays defense. I was wrong when the Nuggets picked him up.
Whoa. No, Clayton. No, Pinky was wrong. That is not a yes. The Lakers do not win tonight.
I do think the Lakers win tonight myself. I don't think they win the series.
No, they don't win tonight at all. They're about to get smoked. Clayton. No, they were not sick. They played an awful Grizzlies team in the first round. A Grizzlies team that was imploding, that was self-destructing on themselves. Lakers didn't do anything special in the first round. They did exactly what they were supposed to do against a bad team. No, the Lakers do not win tonight. So the game is in Golden State. Keep that in mind as well.
We disagree on this. I think the Lakers are going to win this game based on having that rest, whereas in Golden State had to have an emotional Game 7 win. I think the Lakers win this game. I don't think they win the series. I think Golden State was going to win this series, but I think the Lakers win tonight.
Nah, no way. No way, Pinky. But you know what I will say? Cheers, my dude, because I know we don't always agree, but that's all right. It's all right.
We don't always agree.
Clayton, they're playing okay ball. I won't say they're playing bad. They're playing very inconsistent, though, if you look at that series and go back and truly watch it. They're playing very inconsistent. The games they won, keep this in mind, all but one of the games they won, the leading scorer was not Street Clothes or LeBron. And as a matter of fact, LeBron didn't lead them in scoring in any of the games. They won one game where Street Clothes led them in scoring. This is not a Lakers team that is dominant. And they're about to play the defending champs who are dominant. Let's give the champs some respect here, people. On their home court, Steph Curry coming off a 50-piece in the Game 7. Come on.
We'll see who's right tonight, huh? Well, it'll be late. It'll be probably tomorrow morning for me.
It's on right now. Golden State's up 3-0. Game. Up 5-0. 5-0. Clay just hit a bucket. It's over. Clay's feeling it already early. It's over. By the way, I'm a big Klay Thompson fan too. Which is tough to be such big fans of those guys and be a Nuggets fan. It's a little tough. I will say, can't stand Andre Iguodala. I think the dude's a traitor. I think he cost the Nuggets a playoff series some years back with George Karl and those boys because word has it he was basically telling Golden State everything the Nuggets were running. Can't stand Andre Iguodala. But I'll give the dude his respect. He is a veteran leader that has helped that team win championships. Doesn't mean I got to like him, though.
Yeah. Clayton, obviously we are pretty much Laker haters as well. So
No. I can't hate the Lakers. I don't hate greatness. Same reason I don't hate LeBron James. I don't hate greatness. I appreciate greatness. And the Lakers have had the benefit of being a very well-run organization for the history of that organization. So they've had guys like Rick Barry, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Wilt Chamberlain, Magic Johnson, Shaq, Kobe. Like, I'm not going to be a Laker hater. I'm not. That's not a team I will hate.
See, you're unlike me. So they're on the same level as like the Yankees and the Patriots of the teams I enjoy when they lose. Because
we're there with the Patriots. Cheers with the Patriots. We can done there, buddy. Done there. That's not greatness that I will respect. But the Lakers don't have a bunch of scandals surrounding any of their championships either, like the Patriots do. So there's some reasons why I'm okay with hating on the greatness of the Patriots.
Which is over. So we're good. We're good there.
Absolutely.
We're good there.
Absolutely.
And that brings me joy.
Anybody else out there got anything they'd like to hear about basketball before we move on? I know I've already done more of this than Pinky was quite ready for because my man had a week last week, and I know he's jonesing to discuss it. So, wait. Clayton, we were going to discuss a little bit of hockey, mostly just about the Avs. Surprise, surprise, Pinky, I disagree on the Avs as well. I think they played flat all series. They did not play great, but I think the goalkeeping cost them the series. I think Georgiev let in too many soft, easy goals. A lot of those goals he let in were glove side, which is completely unacceptable for a goalkeeper. That's just a huge no-no. I am not the only one, Pinky. Our Hockey Insider agreed that the Avs need to go look for a new goalie in the offseason. I've talked to a couple other people. My brother is one, and my brother never agrees with me, period. If you're familiar with my brother at all, you know he will simply disagree with me just to disagree with me, regardless of if he likes the thought or the idea. He will say I'm an idiot just to say I'm an idiot. Even he thought the goalkeeping was a major issue. I will also say injuries caught up to the Avs, and if they were able to overcome those injuries and win that Game 7, they probably weren't getting past the second round anyways.
Yeah, I don't like – I've got a couple things here. Again, he didn't give up more than like 3 goals in a game, which that's pretty good in most cases. The Avs couldn't score to save their lives. Cale Makar played like shit. Nushkin just literally disappearing because he like left the team. Sure as hell didn't.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that. You know why he left the team?
No, it's not been reported.
Yeah, there's a report out there now. There was an intoxicated female found in his hotel room with him nowhere to be found. And this intoxicated female did not have any personal identification. And it was said that she told the police a man took her passport from her and refused to give it back. I.e., there is some read between the lines of this story coming out that Nichushkin might be involved in some sex trafficking.
I don't know. I haven't seen it. Hasn't been reported by a major news outlet yet, so I'm not going to take that for word yet.
It's just what I've been hearing kind of through the grapevine now, because like you said, it's not being reported yet. There is not an official report on what's going on. The Avs are keeping it very hush-hush.
Yeah, the Avs know something, but they said it's not a legal issue, is what they said. So
we'll see. Cody, you're right. Grubauer played out of his mind. The Avs should have just kept him. The Avs should have never let him go.
Once they lost Nushkin, they were basically playing one-line.
Cody, does that mean what I'm reporting is true? Because you and I were the ones talking about that together.
Cody, until you're making money from breaking your news, no, it does not count. Does not count. When you get to that point.
I agree with you that normally allowing 2 to 3 goals a game is something that the team should be able to overcome and win still. Again, the finer details, when you go back and look at the goals that were given up, they're goals that shouldn't have been given up. Kemper wouldn't have allowed those goals last year. Francois wasn't going to allow those goals last year. I'm actually amazed that Francois didn't come in and play. Because, again, they were soft goals, glove side goals, which are completely unacceptable when you're supposed to be a top-tier goalie helping your team win. That's what I saw. Now, I'm not trying to say the team as a whole played well by any means.
See, but
I do think the goaltending cost them that series.
Yeah, I mean, they went to Game 7. I just don't think that's the case. I don't think
it should have gone 7.
The team playing like shit is what caused them to lose. Period.
I think the only one that played well in that series, to be perfectly honest with you, was our best player, and that was McKinnon. The problem is hockey's not a sport where one guy is going to be able to carry you to victory. It's just not. Especially when the amount of time you actually spend on the ice is so little in the grand scheme of things.
Right. They have to be epic, which is why we went to Game 7. The Kraken played – they scored first in every game.
They did.
Played so well.
Only the second time it's happened in NHL history.
I will say I did watch some questionable – there was a lot of questionable referee calls in this, which normally doesn't happen in hockey.
That's been this whole playoffs, though, to be honest with you. This whole playoffs from east to west, 7 and 8 seed and up. There's been a lot of questionable.
I saw multiple trips that didn't get called. One of the goals in Game 5 was literally we got tripped, and then they came down and scored and basically made it 3-2 from that score. Like, if they would have called the trip, it would have just been 2-2, right?
Let's be honest. Great teams overcome that stuff. And I'm not saying the Avs may not be a great team still, but they were so thin. They're missing 3 of their top guys. Right. Cogliano was out. That guy should have been suspended. The fact that the dude who hit Cogliano wasn't suspended was a joke.
Well, the fact that they didn't even
have was suspended for a game, and the guy that hit Cogliano wasn't. That's a joke. They're missing the Chuskin. They're missing Landeskog. Some of the guys just got healthy as the playoffs were starting. It was just a recipe for disaster. Cody was absolutely right. He told us before the series even started, Kraken might be one of the best 5-on-5 teams in the league, and they showed that.
I said I would have rather played God, what was the other team? Because in another chat I was in, our buddy Billy and this buddy Jeff of mine, I was saying I don't think we want to play the Kraken in the first round, because I think the Kraken is played better against us all season than if we'd have played whoever the next team we could have played would have been. I'd have to look back at who played, but I definitely think we would have had better odds against a different team. So either way, I mean, it's already 4-2 Kraken. Kraken's up 4-2 against the Stars. I don't think we could have even competed with the Stars the way we've been playing.
Like I said, we weren't getting past the second round the way we were playing anyways, and how thin we were with our depth this year.
Jets. I think we could have beat the Jets in the first round. I didn't like the idea of playing the Kraken. So it is what it is. Hopefully they can get healthy next year. They can fill some holes. Maybe this helps Georgiev improve in his career. He's still a young guy, so maybe he can come out next year and play better. He won 40 games. I mean,
look, regular season, his numbers look very comparable to Kemper. But Kemper came out last year and Francois last year, and they stood on their heads. They were lights out last year for us in the playoffs. Georgiev was not.
Hold on. Kemper had multiple games where they scored over 4 or 5 goals on him. We just happened to score more.
No, Pinky. You cannot look at look at how many goals were scored on somebody. You have to look at the way they made saves, when they made saves, and how they played overall.
He played
the big picture. Kemper played way better last year. Kemper won us a couple games last year. Period. Georgiev didn't do that, and Georgiev didn't even come close to that.
Georgiev didn't get the same support either.
No, he didn't. But he could have made some saves that would have won games for them and allowed them to advance. Kemper did that last year. And so did Francois.
I think he did, because we won 3 games in that series. I still think he held up good into the
We didn't win them. No. We didn't win any of those games because of Georgiev. Cody, help me out. Am I wrong here? I'll eat some crow right now if I'm wrong.
He only gave up 1 goal in game 6.
Yeah, that is true. That did help last year, no doubt. The other thing we'll touch on with hockey right now is 2 things out west. Rangers lose an epic series with the Devils in Game 7. Tough loss for the Rangers. Sorry, 3 things. The Maple Leafs advanced to the second round for the first time since 2004. Congratulations to them. I saw an article today where I believe it was a Florida Panthers player. I think it was Tkachuk, if I remember correctly, came out and said that did I say the West, Cody? My bad. I meant the East. My bad. East. Tkachuk came out today and said he believes the Maple Leafs are actually the best team right now left in the playoffs. Now, that could just be some gamesmanship because that's who they're playing next. But, there could be some truth there. So congratulations to the Maple Leafs, second round since 2004. And, ladies and gentlemen, the President's Cup is as real as the Madden curse and the Caleb curse. You do not want to be the league winner in the NHL and go into the playoffs. Boston Bruins went as the greatest season in NHL regular season history, and they got beat in Game 7 in an epic fashion overtime goal by the Florida Panthers. So, NHL playoffs are legit. While we may not talk about it a lot, and we may not have a whole lot to say about it, we'll still talk about it a little bit. but we won't have a whole lot to say now that the Avs are out. Our focus has shifted all the way over to the Nuggets now.
I'm still interested in the NHL because of the third thing you're going to mention.
I just mentioned all three things.
Or I think you just mentioned. I was looking at the scores.
I will say, I personally think this sets up perfectly for the Oilers to win the Cup finally. That's my take. They have the best player in Connor McDavid. They have arguably the second best goal scorer in the playoffs remaining in Drysdale. I think it sets up perfectly for the Oilers to go on and win. Cody might disagree with me now. But I like the Oilers to get it done this year now.
I kind of like the Golden Knights.
Cody's changing quickly all of a sudden. My dude. Anything else you want to touch on with the hockey playoffs?
So Maple Leafs did lose tonight to the Panthers 4-2. Kraken are beating the Stars 4-2 right now after the first period. So again, I don't think our goalie played that bad. The Stars goalie Ottinger gave up 4 in the first period. I mean, hey.
Again, it's not about the amount of goals he gave up. I think you're giving a disservice to the Avs defense. Again, glove side goals are unacceptable as a goalkeeper. And Georgiev, almost all the goals given up were glove side. That's a bad look.
I will say I'm kind of rooting for McDavid since he's a freaking just superstar. It's nice to get a superstar ring and keep building up. I think that would be good for hockey because I think his success right now is helping build some new fans, and him winning a Stanley Cup would help grow that as well. So that's probably why I'd say, kind of rooting for those Oilers. But Golden Knights been playing some good hockey too, so it should be very interesting. Caleb, I think it was me cutting in and out, my man. It was me.
All right, making sure. I just saw the message, so
had to reboot the whole computer, or not their computer, the whole website and everything.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so we'll talk some more about hockey each week as the playoffs keep going because I do think when you break it down, it is one of the toughest sports to win the cup, to win that championship. It really is. The best teams don't always win, whether it's goalkeeping, whether it's the other goalkeeper playing out of his mind and doing enough to steal some games. That does happen. I can absolutely agree with that take, Caleb. So it is going to be a good run down the final stretch. We still got, 3 more rounds to go. We got 2 more rounds till we get to the Stanley Cup. So it's going to be, we got some good time left.
Absolutely. All right, Pinky. I think it's time to give the people what they want, what they haven't had in a while. I think it's time for Pinky Story Time. And no, it's not our official jingle. We just always use some kind of jingle before stories.
Yeah, we need to come up with a better one.
We do need something for sure. But we haven't had Pinky Story Time in a minute. I think the people deserve it. I think we deserve a little rundown of your week in KC at the draft, and then we can go ahead and dissect the draft as we see it.
So I'm going to say, just starting out, this was a definitely a family trip. I had my father with me. I had my 18-year-old son, who's a Browns fan, with me. And then I had my best friend, who's like my brother, Andy, and he's a Chiefs fan. And we did the road trip out to KC. I'm going to give a shout out. One of the coolest places we went was a sports bar in Hays, Kansas. This place was awesome, bro. Food was good. Prices were good. Drinks were good. We stopped in on the way there and then on the way back as well. Awesome setup. Thirsty's Bar in Hays, Kansas. Check them out. cool place to go and hang out. They've got a nice little sports bar set up. We got there 2 minutes before it opened on Sunday on the way back. They opened at 11. There was a line. There was 30 people waiting to get in on a Sunday, 2 minutes before it opened. It was crazy. Drove out to KC, which is actually it's only 9 hours, but it is a shitty 9 hours, if you guys know what I mean. There's nothing to look at. There's nothing to see. It's just a straight shot. And I was going to say, one of the things we did get to do, obviously you go to KC, you got to go to barbecue, right, Caleb?
Yeah, you better. Absolutely.
I'm not a big barbecue guy. I'm just not.
What's wrong with you?
It's I like steaks and burgers, chicken wings. I'm just not a big fan of brisket and pulled pork. I'm not. It's okay, but it's not going to be the first thing I choose to eat if I have a choice. It's also pretty expensive for the most part. Like when you kind of break it down. I've
always kind of wondered why like barbecue is so expensive, because it is. So I'll agree with that, but I love some good barbecue.
So if you look here in Colorado and you go to a barbecue place, you pay a stupid amount of money for barbecue that just doesn't really pass. It's okay. Like, you're not going to be mad, but just to be like, I don't think it was that great to pay that kind of money, right? So we go to this, we got recommended this place called Q39. Man, that place was so good. That barbecue was awesome. Awesome. Q39, really good. The prices really weren't that bad. Like, Famous Dave's here in Colorado, which is kind of a chain restaurant, has like the same prices as Q39. So I was
Dickies
blown away.
Is better than Famous Dave's.
I don't think Dickies is that good either, to be honest with you. I think Rudy's out on near Manatee's better, but
I think Rudy's is too prevalent with their smoke flavor, personally. But each their own. But I've been told by many people that if the only barbecue I've had is Colorado barbecue, which it is, then I've never had real barbecue. So I can't argue with that. It's not like Colorado's known for barbecue.
I would agree. I'd never really had barbecue outside of Colorado. So this Q39, it was funny. Junior had a brisket sandwich at that Thirsty's place. And so when we go to Q39, he was going to order like a buffalo chicken sandwich or something. And I was like, bro, we came to a barbecue restaurant to have top shelf barbecue. You have to order barbecue. He was like, fine. He ordered like the 3-piece sampler thing. I ordered the same thing. It was awesome.
Did you have their sausage?
I did, yes.
How delicious was it? Because I've been told the way you can really tell a true barbecue place is their brisket and their sausage. If the sausage is a homemade sausage, that's a good way to tell if it's good or not.
The brisket was on a whole nother level. For sausage, the sausage was good, but I like a jalapeno sausage. It wasn't really a.
They didn't have a spicy.
Yeah, it didn't have that spice to it. I like a spicy jalapeno sausage at a barbecue place.
Okay.
But their sauce was great, and our table we were sitting at was like literally right next to their trophy case, and it's from the floor to the ceiling with just gigantic trophies. So they know what they're doing. Q39 is definitely Pinky approved. First day of the draft. This location, so I've been to the last 3 drafts. This location was the most massive of any of the
It looked ginormous on TV.
So
like the spread just looked crazy.
We parked at the Sheridan, which happened to be right across the street from the draft. $50 to park in the parking garage. But it was right there. I had my dad with me. We didn't have to take the wheelchair very far. It worked out.
Right.
We get there, and there's a special path for wheelchairs. So we get this like special access with this special elevator that only fits like the wheelchair and one person, and it goes up. You had to walk around, and so we get to the grass area. I don't know if you saw the grass area on the coverage.
By the fountain or whatever, that giant statue thing. It was in front of that, right? That's what you're talking about?
Well, that was the lower area, the fountain.
Okay.
The upper area was just grass.
Okay, so sorry, pause here. I want to make sure I'm picturing this correctly, and for everybody out there in the ether region, you're saying where the stage was and where that fountain statue thing was, it sloped from the stage down to that fountain?
So the fountain was literally right, like the area around the fountain was right by where the stage was all put up and everything, and all the inner circle people sit right in there.
But that was higher ground. The stage area you're saying was higher ground.
I mean, it was elevated above so that everybody could see it, but it was like the fountain area and the stage were on the same level of the street.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay.
So, and then
when you're talking lower area, it's just kind of like the back area.
Right. So they had the stage and the draft theater, as they call it.
Sure.
And then they had that fountain, which was awesome. And then there was like a walkway, and along that walkway is where they had all the media guys. ESPN set up. Schefter had his own setup. I got a what's up from Shefty because I was wearing my Broncos stuff, and he used to cover the Broncos.
He's a big Broncos guy. Little known fact, I think, because he hides it very well. He'll rep his Michigan, but little known fact, he does like the Broncos.
I got a "We Coming" from Joel Klatt, which was awesome.
I don't want to hear that shit. Get that off.
To stand up and say "We Coming."
He's lucky I wasn't. I'd have been throwing bones, GBR to his ass. But Klatt can talk his smack because he beat Nebraska.
He's doing a pretty good job at what he does now.
I think Klatt's one of the best analysts out there on TV right now. So I got nothing against Joel Klatt other than the fact he's a Colorado Buffalo.
So it's kind of like media row was like right there, and then above that is where the grass was, and the grass was like a festival.
Okay.
Like they had the beer tents, they had stuff you could buy stuff. People were literally just putting blankets down and just camping in the grass.
Nice.
I don't know why you would do that, because I'm like, you can't see anything. I mean, you could see it, but like it's really far away. Like that section was really far away from the stage.
It looked really far away on TV.
So I'm sitting there and I'm meeting a buddy of mine. I worked with this guy 12 years ago when I worked at T-Mobile. And he's been a Chiefs fan. We kind of kept in touch on Facebook, and he was out there with his brother. And I was like, oh, let's meet up. And he's like, yeah, man, I'm over here and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I don't see any of that, bro. Like, what are you talking about? I'm right here in this grass. There's a beer tent over here. There's this over here. He's describing things. I'm like, I see none of that. Where are you? The draft experience was completely over the wall of the World War II Memorial. You couldn't even see that. Like, you literally had to walk even farther to get up there, and it was up behind this gigantic wall.
Okay.
That's how much space they had for this thing. I mean, it definitely is like almost like a rock festival type of stuff.
Yeah, that's what it definitely. I mean, they did a couple aerial shots, and it looked like a Warp Tour or
like
some big concert. Like it looked like a Woodstock, like the photos you see of Woodstock from aerial views back in the day. Like just the sea crowd of people for just a mile back. That's kind of what it looked like.
I never made it past beyond the wall. I didn't go.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but you guys got yourselves into the actual theater part of the draft setup. Did you not? Close to the stage.
So day one, we were right by the fountain to like the right. And because we were just general admission on that day. And I had my dad's wheelchair, and we just kind of parked him up on the grass. And we just kind of centralized right there. And we had a big video board right by us. So every time a pick came on, it was clean and clear. And I tell you, man, that was an endurance test because we did stand for like 9 hours. And we walked to go get beer, got stuck in the beer line for an hour. Lots of cool stuff. But I will tell you, like, just that atmosphere, the experience, I think because obviously you had two major factors. A, it was in Kansas City. B, they had just won the Super Bowl. So I think you had a lot more casual fans out there than you would normally have.
Sure.
And in Vegas and in Cleveland, there was a more like a lot more different fans. In KC, it was like mostly Chiefs fans,
Yeah, there's a lot of red. There's a lot of red
everywhere. Like if you were not a Chiefs fan, I was coming up and dapping you up. Let's go Packers. Let's go Dogtown. How you doing, Lions, King of the North? Let's go. Like, I was having a good time with every fan that weren't Chiefs fans just because, like, everybody was a Chiefs fan. Met some really cool fans night one. We chatted with a lot of, Steeler fans. We had a Chargers fan right next to us. I swear to God, his foot didn't stop tapping before they picked. Like, he was so, just so excited about what was going to happen that he just wouldn't stop shaking.
Was he happy after the pick?
He was, yeah.
He
wanted a wide receiver. He got a wide receiver. So,
yeah, he did.
I actually think he wanted Jackson, but Jackson went before the Chargers, so they couldn't draft him. But he was happy with Quentin Johnson. So
yeah, everybody would have wanted JSN. I mean, anybody that wanted a receiver would have wanted that. So let's be a little bit realistic here. The fact that he dropped as far as he did was a miracle.
I was surprised, and Andy was like, he was like, God damn it! I bring you. There's tons of Chiefs fans, and literally the worst shit talking I got night one was, "You're wearing the wrong jersey, man. You're wearing the wrong jersey." And I was like, okay, I respected that. Like, I didn't get a lot of real mean. That there was Chiefs fans could have definitely been mean and nasty, but they were not, and that was cool. I was not expecting that. I was expecting some more shit talking than what I got. So, night one was just, I tell you, man, the energy. I had not been to a night one because in Cleveland it was raining and cold. So Junior was like, "We are not going out there." Vegas, I had tickets. We had tickets to the pool party for night one. So obviously we went and enjoyed that. So this was the first time I've actually gone to night one, and it's definitely a spectacle. I mean, the house band's playing, the music's loud. It was awesome, man. I even though it would have been cool if the Broncos had a pick, but it was Sean Payton, so I'll take it. But it was a really good time. And there were a lot of Bronco fans out there too, actually. And I went and made sure I gave each one a high five. So
nice.
I did my thing out there. I made friends. That's what I'm all about.
You always do. I expect that. How was the rest of the weekend before we get into the actual analysis that we're going to give?
Day 2, we had a stadium tour of Arrowhead. And it's kind of funny. Our tour guide was a grumpy old dick. I was like, bro, you would literally just give people tours of your stadium. What do you need to be grumpy about? I don't get it. He's got a Super Bowl ring from the first Chiefs Super Bowl because he's been part of the, I don't know, red coats or whatever they call them for so long. And he was just awful. And there's not a whole lot to see at that stadium if anybody decides to go sometimes. It was literally, we got to go down on the field. That was the best part. You're down in Arrowhead. You're on the field. They had footballs for us to throw around. I got Andy to kick a field goal. I got my dad. My dad wasn't going to get out of his wheelchair. I had to go over and yell at him and be like, Dad, when are you ever going to step out on an NFL field ever? Get up. Let's walk. I don't need you to walk far, but at least get out here on the field with us so that you can at least say you've been on an NFL field.
I won't lie. When I saw those pictures of you guys down on the field, it totally makes sense why Arrowhead is so loud. That's a bowl, and it's on top of you.
Oh, it's literally, yeah. It's yeah, bro. It's crazy.
Yeah, he made it. What was that, a 30-yarder?
It was about 30.
25? Yeah, he made it. He made it.
30. He had clearance to it. It would have been good from 40. So,
the form wasn't great. I will say, as somebody who grew up playing soccer and got asked to go play for our high school football team and turned it down because we were awful. And I was scared for my life that I would get hurt because the team was so bad. There was no blocking. The form was not great, but the leg was there for sure. Andy, don't hate me. Don't hate me. I love you, buddy. You could use some work on the form, but the leg was there, my guy.
Hey, he got it through the uprights.
That's all that matters. That's all that matters. That's true.
But being down there with my son, him and Andy were throwing the football back and forth. It was awesome.
By the way, another side note, I forgot, and maybe it's just because I'm around him so often, how big Caleb actually is.
Yes.
And when I see him in those pictures with you and Andy, and he looks like a monster next to you guys, my Lord, that child has grown up for sure.
Because I feel like a big guy most of the time. And then, when I get around him, I'm like, God damn it. And he likes to try to – I had to establish dominance. I did beat him in pool wrestling this week. Felt really good about that. I've been putting in the work at the gym, and I was able to, get him. I felt good about that. At the Chiefs Stadium, the next step is the locker room. And it's funny. So the last time Andy went, they still had like complete wood lockers, like the old school, like ugly looking stuff. Now it's all plush, black.
It's amazing what winning the Super Bowl will do for your organization.
They remodeled the whole thing. It's awesome. It looks very, very similar to the Raiders locker room now. Very cool stuff. So that was cool. And then they have a Chiefs Hall of Fame inside the stadium now. I don't know if it's open on game days for you to see, or if you have to take the tour to get to see it. I don't know that part, but they had like bronze busts of anybody who's in the Chiefs, Ring of Honor. They had videos playing of different iconic moments. They had old AFL helmets from all the original AFL teams. They had banners or pennants from the old AFL teams. And then, like I said, I put my Broncos hat on Neil Smith since I thought it was a good look for him. That was good. The old grumpy guy wasn't looking, so that's why we got away with that one. They had two Super Bowl trophies. They didn't have the third one in the display case yet.
That's because Jason Kelce was drinking a beer off of it and spiking it on stage at the concert.
That was a fake.
Of course it was. Of course it was. But it was still awesome.
And they actually had a Travis Kelce's pink suit from SNL in there.
Funny enough, after seeing that picture, that looked like the same suit that Bryce Young wore to go number 1 in the draft.
I think Bryce Young's was a little bit more pink, like a brighter shade of pink. But yes, it's
the cut and style looked exactly the same, at least.
No, absolutely similar for sure. After the stadium tour, which was great, I actually I made a new friend. There was a Jags fan, super fan. She had her face all painted up like a Jaguar, wearing her Jaguars gear into the stadium to go tour the stadium. And I told her, I was like, I just got to tell you, lady, you look beautiful. You look great. And she actually sells tickets for the Jaguars. So I told her, I was like, well, that's awesome. My buddy and I like to go see games in other stadiums. She gave me her number and everything and said, text me. I'll get you group tickets. They'll be like $50 or less.
Nice.
I was like, perfect. So,
I'm down to go to Florida in December.
Well, I told her, I was like, if we come in December, awesome. If it's September, I got to get in the pool. I got to get pool tickets if it's September. So
it's true.
I was like, nobody's going to want to see me in the pool, but I don't care. I would want to be in the pool.
No, don't care what other people think. I'm there to have a good time. That's all I care about.
Right. So that was fun. We did check out another barbecue spot. We checked out Gates Barbecue, which we'd also been told were pretty good. And that's more of like the fast food version of barbecue. I got like a burnt ends brisket sandwich called the Nooner. It was so good, man.
Yeah,
it was so good.
Sounds delicious.
I was like, oh my God. Andy got this like platter and he couldn't even finish it. It was so big. It was like some couple spare ribs, some brisket, some ham on this big, huge platter. It was so good.
Making me hungry, Pinky. Move along.
We decided, so Gates Barbecue is also Pinky approved. Definitely worth it. Good prices too. Like it wasn't an expensive place. We went to, so after that, us old guys made the decision, let's go get some beer and whiskey and some sandwich stuff, and let's hang out in the room for Friday night. So that's what we did. We did not go out there Friday night. It was a little rainy. They weren't letting any umbrellas in or anything. Our backs couldn't handle another, 5-6 hours just or standing out there. So my cousin Melissa and my cousin Jason came and hung out with us in the hotel room. We drank, talked some draft. I was telling Andy, I was like, I think you're my cousin's new best friend, because my cousin was he's a big Chiefs fan, so he was just chatting Andy up back and forth, this player, that player, all this in-depth conversation, and I was just like, oh, damn, because I don't, I can hold my own talking Chiefs, but I'm not on that level with Andy. So Andy really got to talk to somebody who knows what's up. And then Saturday, man, we were VIP. We were literally front row in the draft theater. So the stuff you see on TV from the crowd is all the inner circle folks, the folks who get invited by the teams to come. They don't have to pay for their tickets, but any food and alcohol they all have to buy themselves. And it's also a pain in the ass to get in and out of where they're at. So we were front row. The band's right in front of us. They're playing hits. Oh, we'll get there. We're almost there. Got some Twitch followers here. That guy's a steal.
You got some style, that boy TV. You got some style, my guy.
That guy's a steal. But I tell you, man, we had a blast. My dad got treated to, he could order anything he wanted off the menu. He could order any drinks he wanted. It was a time, man. Obviously, he took a nap in the middle. He doesn't know all these football guys. He's not on that level. But Andy and I were excited. We were the ones cheering for guys that other people are like, I don't know who that is. Like we were having a good time. It was such an experience, man. The VIP section I was in, 90% Chiefs. Like I'm telling you, like the Chiefs fans showed out for this draft.
Good for
more
them.
than any. I mean, and they were Super Bowl champs. I think that's why, I think that's why a lot of just regular people showed up to the draft when normally it's diehards.
I will say, I understand why it was done. I didn't like that it was done, that they allowed them to bring the Super Bowl trophies on the stage, that they allowed the Chiefs to celebrate their Super Bowl at the draft. This isn't the Chiefs draft. It's the NFL draft. So I thought that was a mistake on the NFL's part to allow that to happen. I get why it was done because it's in Kansas City and the Chiefs are the Super Bowl champions, but I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all.
Well, since they've taken the draft on the road, that's never happened before, where the city hosting the draft won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, well, I mean, they haven't gone anywhere that was an option.
The odds
that wasn't happening in Cleveland or LA or Vegas.
Right. They've had it in Dallas. They've had it in Philly. I think Philly won it the year after it was there. But it just had never happened like that. So I didn't mind it as much. One last thing before we talk about what happened in the draft. That Bengals Chiefs rivalry is fucking real, bro. Chiefs fans and Bengals fans were chirping all 3 days. All 3 days.
Oh, yeah?
it made me feel a little bit like Peyton and Brady, right? Like they were going at it. Every time a Chiefs guy got on stage, they talk shit about the Chiefs or the Bengals. Eric Stonestreet talked shit about the Bengals. When the Bengal guys would announce their picks, they'd talk shit about the Chiefs. Like I was just like, is it too early? They've played 4 games against each other. Is it too early to be a rivalry? But the hate.
No, because the games they've played have been meaningful games, and that's what really creates a rivalry.
And so I just think that that was good to see, even though some of it I thought was crossing the line. Like it was going beyond. Like I saw, some Chiefs fan posted his wife was at the draft experience. They had like a locker of Burrow, and she was flipping the locker off. And I was just like, I didn't like that, but I can see why they did it, but it's still like one of those things like that's really not what we need to be doing, but whatever.
I think there's a lot of fans and fan bases within sports as a whole that don't understand you can dislike the other team and still be respectful. I don't think that registers with people, unfortunately. And Pinky, we might be in the minority. We might be a different breed, but you and I are very much on the fence of, that old school thought process where you can disagree with somebody and still walk away and love them afterwards. Like you don't have to sit there and be kumbaya all the time, and you don't have to be, you don't have to make things personal when you're disagreeing. And that's a rare thing in today's sports environment, I feel like.
But I did notice that. And then, that was Saturday. I had dinner with some family after the draft, which was really nice. And we drove home Sunday, and that was it. Did stay up till like 1 almost every night. I did get to watch the Avs game, and then I watched game 1 of the Nuggets as well, which was nice because obviously can't really watch them here. So that was fun.
We can watch them here now. If you haven't heard, the Nuggets have lifted all blackouts for the playoffs. Odd, but they've done it.
I mean, are they on ABC? I don't get TNT. So.
Oh, that's right. You don't get any of that stuff. That's right. My bad.
I don't.
They're in the hotel. You actually get to watch everything. I forgot about that. Oh, Pinky, yeah. You might just have to come over for some of these games.
Well, when I was at the sports bar, it was my cousin's daughter was working, and she came over, and I was like, "Hey, they've got golf on this TV. Can we switch this to the Nuggets game?" And she's like, "I got you." Came and changed it for me. So,
kind of sports bar has golf on when there's major sports playoffs going down?
Dude, like the Nuggets was like over in the back corner. Like it was on, but it was nowhere where I could see it. So
I don't care if it is in Kansas City. I don't care if it's in LA. You better be playing the NBA playoffs over golf. Oh my
and it
Lord.
It wasn't even like it was like replay of golf. I think it was
they were like replaying the Live golf event. Not even a PGA golf event, or maybe the Corn Ferry Tour or something. That's disrespectful. That's ridiculous. Something. And I'm a golf guy. You know me. I'm the reason we have golf conversations on this show. But hell no, you can't do that. That's an epic disaster. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, Pinky, I love hearing the stories. I love staying in contact with you all week, all weekend. If I know you had a blast.
Next year is Detroit, and rumor is, this is only a rumor I heard, the following year is in New Orleans.
Are you going next year? Are you just going to go every year now? Because I'm not going to lie. Selfishly, I'm bummed that you're going because there's no chance of me going for probably the next 10 years. But I miss you having the scheduled draft parties with all your buddies at somebody's house and getting this all together and us being able to hang out and chop it up during the first round. And I haven't had that the last 3 years because you've been on the road. So selfishly, I hope you don't go next year so that I can hang out with some people and watch it, not just by myself. Although, Andy... shout out to Cody in one of my fantasy leagues. We had a great group chat going on our fantasy group chat. So I at least had some people to chop it up with the whole time. So that made it a little bit more fun.
I thought you were going to do a live show.
There were some other live shows going on the MHRT network, and I felt I would allow them to have their time this year, since my guy wasn't with me. So that's what it came down to. It was a serious thought. You and I had talked about it, but I did decide, because there were some other shows on the MHRT network that were doing that, and my guy was actually at the draft, not with me. I wouldn't go that route.
Andy's, I don't know if it's his second favorite or his third favorite. So Chiefs are number one, and then he roots for the Falcons because he used to live there. And then some reason he roots for the Lions. I can't really remember why he roots for the Lions.
Barry Sanders.
I know he really wants to. I know he really wants to go to next year's draft in Detroit, go see the stadium, check it out. So that's the plan, as long as he can get coverage. Now, if they do New Orleans, the wife's coming with me to the New Orleans trip, because we've never gone to New Orleans and we've both wanted to go. Sunny, her best friend, loves New Orleans. I know we can get her to the draft. So, like, if it gets announced that it's in New Orleans in 2025, we are there.
That would be a fun one to go to.
I'm not so big on Detroit because I'm like, I don't know what else we're gonna do in Detroit, but I'm sure we can get into some trouble somewhere.
8 Mile, visit Eminem's house.
I'll go hang out with Instinct Sound Posse. The posse will let me in. They like me.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. All right, Pinky, let's do this. We'll save the Broncos for last because I know how much you love doing that. So we'll give their analysis last.
I like that.
Where do you want to start?
Should we talk about the Philadelphia Bulldogs?
Yeah, we can.
So I did that night one and day three when I was there at the draft. Literally, was just going around. What's up, Philadelphia Bulldogs? Let's go! Like, everybody loved that, but it's true, man.
I mean, I don't see why it's a bad thing. They're getting talent and a lot of talent.
It's not. Like, I know there's a lot of GMs right now that are kind of pissed off that Howie Roseman's getting all this credit about he's playing chess, they're playing checkers, and I was all this. I'm like, well, do better, suck less then.
Yeah, exactly.
Like they're kicking ass. Like,
you don't
want to
hear your job better, period. Because he's doing his job really well and you're not. What else do you want to say? Like, shut up.
Like, and then during the draft, getting DeAndre Swift. Here's the sneakiest thing about
not getting DeAndre Swift. They stole DeAndre Swift.
So, yeah, it's like a swap of 7th rounders and a 3rd round pick.
I thought it was a 4th. I thought it was a 4th swaps of 7th.
Maybe it is a 4th. What I have in my mind, he's a free agent after next season. If he signs somewhere else, they get a 3rd round pick for him.
Yeah.
They get a compensatory 3rd round pick for him.
Literally, Philadelphia lost nothing and they gained DeAndre Swift. That's how I saw that trade.
And if they don't re-sign him, they get a 3rd round pick. Like, that's genius. Again, everybody should have been on the phone.
Howie Roseman is playing chess and they're playing checkers. It's no joke.
So the rich getting richer, right? And their draft.
And not just richer, getting the best player available, and getting a need. Like, he did the trifecta.
Well, you could make the case that Jalen Carter's not exactly a need, because they have Jordan Davis and then they still have Fletcher Cox for 1 more year. But then when Fletcher walks, she already got his replacement. But Jalen Carter...
but you could say it's a need based on the way the Super Bowl went.
Well, the way that they always go, right? What do? They keep replacing talent. That's what's been really good about how they manage things.
No doubt.
Jalen Carter next to Jordan Davis, you're not running in the middle of that defense. You're not. Like, good luck. Good luck. I don't know what you're going to do. I mean, you're going to have to do quick passing. I mean, they led the league in sacks last year. They'll probably lead the league in sacks this year.
Well, and it's not like you're going to be able to run to the edges because they've got some of the best linebackers now in the entire league, and their linebackers have speed. So it's not like you're running to the edges and around them.
Good luck. Hey, Broncos don't play them this year.
Thank God.
Awesome. Thank God. Unless they make it to the Super Bowl, and that ain't happening. So,
hey, at least we can agree on that on the Broncos, if nothing else.
I mean, I've got some visions of playing a certain way that we like matchups and everything come into play. I think like it's not something that's impossible. It's just not very likely. Okay. Got to talk about. I text you this during the draft. When the fuck did the Seahawks learn how to draft again? Like 2012, 2013, they were awesome at drafting. 15 until last year, they were fucking god awful.
It's like they had a crystal ball and they knew that there was going to be a gap where it didn't really matter what they did because there wasn't really enough in the draft to really do what they wanted to do with the picks they had and where they were at. So they were just waiting for the last 2 years because, my God, did they kill the last 2 drafts.
They nailed it. And Seahawks media, Seahawks Twitter, like you got rid of Russ. You got the better end of the deal. You've made your team so much better. I don't see why you have to keep kicking the retarded kid or beating the drunk guy, like whatever you want to call it. Like you just like leave him alone at this point. You're awesome. Just let it go. Let it go.
I'd rub it in a little bit more. I do rub it in a little bit more. I mean, I'm a Broncos fan.
It's getting to the point that it's just uncalled for.
I think it'll stop after this year because they don't have any more picks after this year. It's over. Everybody will move on now. But
and it'll go back to normal when Geno turns back into a pumpkin because that's gonna.
I don't think that's gonna happen, dude. I don't think that's gonna happen.
I think it will. Now again, he got protected really well this year, so as long as the protection holds up, he'll probably play well. Those last 3 to 4 weeks of the season, he didn't play great, and it showed.
He didn't play bad. He just didn't play maybe as stellar as he did to start the season. But nobody's ever also gone all in and invested in Geno either after a year. So that could only build his confidence going into next season, possibly.
We'll see.
And I will say, and I know you hate this, but I will say, when he came out of college from West Virginia, his last year at West Virginia, dude was putting up video game numbers. At West Virginia. There's a reason the Jets took him as high as they did because Pat
White put up pretty good numbers in that offense.
That's not where I'm going with this. I'm just saying there was a reason the Jets took him as high as they did. He showed a lot of potential coming out of college. And for one reason or another, it didn't always show itself. And I think the reasons are pretty obvious. He was playing for a bunch of shit teams and head coaches. And now he's with an organization that believes in him, that has backed him, that has put all their trust in him. And they didn't do anything that said otherwise. In fact, all they did was give him more weapons this draft to say, hey, we believe in you. Let's go do something special.
I mean, I'll go out there and say it right now. As long as he doesn't turn back into a pumpkin, well, even if he does turn into a pumpkin for a little bit, they're probably in the top 6 best teams in the NFC. Like, easy.
Yep. I think they'll be competing for the division. They have that much talent on the team. Them in San Francisco. I don't quite think they can beat San Francisco, but I think they'll be right there with them.
I think they can beat San Francisco. I don't know if they win that division, but I think they can. I think that it's going to be between them and the 49ers. The rest of the team, the Rams aren't touching them. The Cardinals aren't touching them. It's going to be a 2-man race in that division.
Absolutely.
Who else nailed it? Actually, I thought the Giants had a pretty darn good draft.
They did.
Well,
they did.
I'm really digging what DeBall's doing up there. I'm still not sold on Danny Dimes, but
Let me ask you this, and I know you don't have to be sold on it, but let me ask you this. Did you see not just marginal, but a leap in improvement last year from Danny Dimes?
Well, most of that came from he didn't turn the ball over. Like his numbers wise, his numbers were almost identical to previous seasons. He just didn't turn the ball over.
But, when you have somebody put you in, and how many times have you heard me say this, Pinky? When you have a coach put you in positions to succeed, things are going to look different. And Dayball put his man in positions to succeed.
That's a negative, Cody. Negative.
No, it's not. That's happening. I called that as soon as I was the first one to say it. You know it, Pinky. You know I said it. That's happening. And he's going to ball out under Kyle Shanahan. He's finally going to show you why he was a top pick.
That guy's not a leader at all, man. I don't think that's going to happen.
I will disagree with that, but, one of us is eating crow next year for sure.
It won't be the last time.
Yo, when our bar opens up, crow's on the menu.
Clayton, that's a negative, sir. That's a negative.
I disagree. I think they did really well.
Yeah, I don't think they did well.
I think they did really well. Look, you don't win in today's NFL with defense. You win with offense, period. And they got the best offensive weapon in the draft. And let's be honest, if their two previous first-round draft picks pan out the way people thought they would, that offense is going to be dangerous. They're a really good running team, Pinky. Last year, in what people thought they were not a good team, they were still a really good running team. And now they just got what some are saying is the best back since Saquon. He's LaDainian Tomlinson. He is all-time great talent-wise in Bijan Robinson. That's a good pick.
I don't doubt that. I don't know if you can take a guy that high when you got 1,000-yard rusher that you had last season that you couldn't have used that somewhere else. Team roster, like when you're building the best roster to win football games, I just don't know if that, like when you already had a guy that went over 1,000 that showed that he was competent and could do the job. I don't know if spending that luxury pick on Bijan wins you more games. I don't know. Maybe it does. I
see what you're saying. And you know me, I'm a dude
I love
Bijan.
Bijan.
You have to build through the trenches.
Hey,
you got to build through the trenches. But
I love Bijan. I traded for Bijan this weekend. I got a crazy good deal.
You did
on Bijan.
You did.
Jalen Waddle
pick,
and a first next year for Bijan. I was like, yeah, let's do that.
I like it. I think overall they had a solid draft. I think a lot of people might be surprised by.
It's not a 1-2 punch. You give the ball to Bijan. Like
Cordarrelle Patterson is going to be more of a gimmick play again because he's not getting.
And Algier,
a game.
Algier's going to get 5 to 10 a game maybe, but you're going to put the ball in Bijan's hands because that's what you drafted him for.
He's a 3-down back, so there's no 1-2 punch. It's Bijan and then who's going to spell him, Patterson or Algier on any given play. But yeah, Bijan's a 3-down back. I'll agree with that. I will say that I think people were shitting on this team, and I don't understand why, because I think they got crazy amount of talent. Whether you like where they took that talent, I don't really give a shit, because I think people's rankings going into the draft are shit to begin with. But I will say I think the Detroit Lions had a great draft.
So I think the Lions, like I saw one, Chad Reuter, if you have read any of his stuff, he's a big draft guy, puts out a lot of content, been around a long time. His article after the draft, he does the draft grades as most of them do, which I think we can all be honest. Draft grades are just fun because it's just saying, okay, what did a team do? Did they get players they needed? But we don't know anything
based on somebody's
2 to 3
rankings
years, right?
Before the draft even started. So it has nothing.
Right.
Most draft grades don't even look at the talent that was got.
it bases it off the rankings that they had and where those picks were taken based on the rankings, which is stupid to begin with.
Chad Reuter had everyone had an A or a B, except for the Detroit Lions, who had a C+, which made no sense to me. And now I understand what he was doing, because I do think Gibbs and Campbell were drafted higher than they were probably projected to go, and maybe higher than where they should have gone, maybe. But I think they drafted 5 starters.
Yeah.
Campbell, Gibbs, Hendon Hooker will be a starter, and what's his name?
Well, Pinky's pulling it up. Clayton, yes. Pinky and I both have them winning the North. They are making the playoffs next year. They are low.
Oh, they're winning the North.
Their defense got better. Their offense got better. Laporta, Cody, you're absolutely right. Laporta is going to be a beast as a tight end. I think he was underrated for God knows what reason. He's coming from tight end U.
That's what it was, Laporta. Now,
Laporta.
The Lions previously
had a great draft. Now,
they didn't use Hawkinson.
People will disagree with this for the majority, I think. But there are some people who had Gibbs equal to or better than Bijan. So it's not like Gibbs is somebody that the Lions reached on out of nowhere for no reason. He's a crazy talented back. And they obviously didn't trust Swift. He obviously fell out of favor there. And I think they think Jahmyr Gibbs is a better talent. So they get him, who's a crazy offensive weapon. They get Laporta to fill in for Hawkinson, who both are Iowa tight ends. You get guys to beef up the defense in Campbell and some of those other picks. Detroit just kept loading up. And they got Dan Campbell guys. I think that's the other important thing to note is they didn't just get talent. They got talent and Dan Campbell guys that fit what that organization is trying to do now.
That I'm going to give them some grace because they got Campbell guys. But if they were going to draft Gibbs and Campbell, if those were the 2 dudes they wanted, they could have traded back and gained even more ammo and still gotten those 2 guys.
Maybe.
Maybe,
but I've said this since I've watched the draft since I was a little kid. If those are the guys you want, you don't trade back. You don't take a chance that they could go off the board to somebody else or somebody could trade up and take them. If those are the guys you want and you have them graded out as the guys you want, you take them at your draft picks and you don't look back. There's no reason if the guys you want and the guys you have at the top of your board are available when you pick, there's no reason you trade back and hope and pray that you can get more picks and that they're still there later. That's a stupid strategy. And that's a square peg, round hole NFL mentality that I cannot stand. Take the guys you want when they're available and run with it and be happy that they're there.
Clayton might stop listening to us because I just disagree with all of his takes. Poor guy. I don't see it. I don't think. Yeah. If Love was that good, the Packers would have really extended him versus being like, yeah, we're going to give you a little bit of money.
This is where I disagree with you, Pinky. They played hardball with Aaron Rodgers. I think the Packers are a trash run organization right now, to be completely honest with you.
Well,
I think I think their front office is horrendous.
Let's be honest. They just were tired of dealing with Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers only became a headache because you drafted his replacement when he just won MVP. Excuse me. And you should have been putting more weapons around him to go chase a Super Bowl, not build for the future. And they literally said when they drafted Jordan Love, well, we have to still look out for the future. No. Your job as a front office is to do everything you can to win now, not make sure you're still okay in the future. And what the Packers front office has been doing is just making sure they're okay in the future. Not great, not good, just okay. And so I think Aaron Rodgers became a giant headache because, honest to God, the Packers started treating him like shit. And this narrative that all these people have been spewing out over the last couple of years that, well, Aaron Rodgers is a headache. Aaron Rodgers is a diva. Blah, 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 blah. No. Aaron Rodgers started treating the Packers the same way the Packers first treated him. That's what I saw. That's what I believe. And it sure seems to be true the way he's showing up to the Jets camp right now and working out and being there early for the offseason stuff.
Let me ask, Clayton, are you a Packers fan? Is that your top team? Let's see if he responds here.
Clayton's a true fan of ours. He's not leaving just because you disagree with him, Pinky. He understands that that's what we do.
let me for any Packers fans that might be listening, let me put it out straight for you. You're going to get a top 5 pick next year.
No.
Brace yourselves.
No, Pinky, you're wrong. I think Love showed enough last year that the Packers won't do any worse than they did last year. I think they're going to be in the 7-10, 8-9 ball range.
Bro, you mentioned that you thought Aaron Rodgers was going to win his 3rd straight MVP.
I did.
And on the back of Aaron Rodgers, they still finished 7-10.
The team completely underperformed. I think the coaching, LaFleur is still incredibly inconsistent. And Aaron Rodgers was hurt last year. He had a broken finger on his throwing hand.
Cody, that's a big range, bro. You got to narrow it down. Literally. Oh, wait, no. You're saying they're going to draft between 5 and 10. They're getting top 5. Jordan Love is that bad. They're going to.
I don't think he is. I think he showed some flashes last year where they'll be okay. Put it on your list. Put it on your list, Pinky. I think they're going to be all right. They're not going to be great. I'm not saying they're going to make the playoffs, but they're not drafting top 5.
Ooh. Oh, damn. I already had this. Packers will draft top 10. I already had that on our list.
I feel like you said that last week, and I made you put it on the list because I didn't agree with it.
Now we're going even higher, top 5.
You better put in parentheses. I now said top 5, just so we can.
No, I'm just changing it to top 5. I'm a man of my word.
All right. No, I don't think they're going to be maybe a little worse than last year. But I don't think I see them 7-10.
Bro, I'm going to tell you this. They are going to be 4th in their division next year, and you know how I feel about Justin Fields.
I can't say that because I think the Bears are the biggest losers in the offseason in the draft.
They did not do great.
I am tired of hearing Bears fans praise Pace and what he did. I am disgusted by Bears fans who are supporting that. The man got nothing in free agency but loading up on the defense. What?
I think it's Poles now, isn't it?
I mean, Poles. No, Pace.
It used to be Pace. Or it's one or the other. I'll look.
Either way,
yeah,
he's a dumbass.
I didn't like any of their. I didn't mind their first pick. Ryan Poles is their GM.
Poles, my bad. My bad.
Pace was their previous GM.
Okay. Their first pick was great. They went offensive tackle, which is their biggest need is offensive line. I had Bears fans coming at me online saying, our offensive line wasn't that bad last year. We just need a piece or two. What? What kind of crack are you smoking that you think there was anything on that offensive line worth saving? They should have replaced the whole offensive line. The whole goddamn thing. And second of all, your head coach and offensive coordinator, trash. Trash, because the offense you run last year did your quarterback no favors. Your offense that you ran last year was so bad, it has Pinky calling your quarterback a running back.
Dude, he ran for 1,100 yards. I don't think I'm going out on a limb there.
You had opportunities, multiple opportunities in this draft as the Bears to bolster that offensive line, and you took one offensive lineman. One. And you didn't sign any in free agency.
I like a couple of their picks, though. I do.
Nope. And you know why? Did they get talent? Yes. But what side of the ball did they get the talent on?
Well, they picked a running back, which was, I like Roschon Johnson.
You didn't need him. Khalil Herbert is very good. Roschon Johnson is not better than Khalil Herbert.
Well, didn't they sign a running back too?
Yes.
On top of him. I do like Tyreek Stevenson, the corner, but they already have some good corners.
Yes, they took 2 last year in the draft.
Who were both pretty good.
Yeah, and they should have been going offensive linemen last year too, and they didn't. Look, that trade you made to drop from the first spot and getting DJ Moore does you no good if you're not going to block and give your quarterback time to throw the ball. The Bears are stupid. And for you to say, you know how much I love Fields. I think he is a Pro Bowl, first-team pro waiting to happen. But that's not going to happen if you have 0 offensive line. And for you to say all the talent that the Packers have on their team, that they're going to finish behind the Bears, that's crazy to me, dude.
What is going to end up happening next season? He's going to end up having to run the ball. And when you run the ball, he's not a small guy, but he's not a big guy either.
He's big for a quarterback. He's almost Cam Newton size.
Ish. I still think he's not. I just think running the ball. I don't like any quarterbacks running the ball a lot myself. Like, I know that what helps Josh Allen be successful. Hurts was an MVP candidate because of his ability to run the ball. I don't like a lot of quarterback runs. I don't. I want my quarterback.
Like quarterback runs when that's what they're doing a majority of the time because they don't have protection. I don't like that. I like when my quarterback can do it. I don't like when he has to do it. I think that's my delineation there.
So, can you guess the only 2 Bears jerseys I saw this weekend?
A McMahon and a Walter Payton?
It was just Fields and Payton. Those are the only 2 jerseys.
Okay.
You were either wearing Fields or you were wearing Payton. So
I love Fields. We know my revisionist history and where Fields should be playing. So, I mean, I think he's a supreme talent. I don't know if we'll ever get to see it, though, in Chicago because they are just stupid. Plain and simple. I'm going to call it like it is. I'm not even going to be kind about it. They are stupid.
Fair. At least you're being fair, Caleb. I didn't hate a lot of people's drafts. I didn't. I don't think the talent was as strong in this draft as it was in previous drafts. But
this is what I'll say about the talent. I don't feel there was a lot of top-end talent in this draft, but I feel there was a lot of talent throughout the draft that will play starters and contribute for a lot of teams. Now, you might not see a lot of all-pro talent, but you'll see a lot of, 8-year starters that contribute really well for their teams.
Right. I don't think there's any superstars or all-pros, but
we know we'll be wrong. There'll be some 5th, 6th, 7th round guys who end up balling out and becoming household names. Just hard to say who that's going to be right now. Here's something that I'll Cody and I were actually talking about this. And I said it to Cody as soon as the first round was over, and it seemed to continue throughout the draft. If you're a fantasy guy, I don't know anybody, literally, I do not know anybody that's happy about their fantasy team after this draft was over. This draft was awful for fantasy, but it was great for real life. Because like the Bears, drafting a Roschon Johnson, that's a great depth pick for your running back room. But for fantasy, it kills anybody who had Khalil Herbert stock. Right? I feel like Charbonnet going to Seattle behind Ken Walker.
That made no sense to me.
But that is a great pick for real life football. Adding depth to that room. Jackson Smith and Jigba. They didn't really need him in Seattle per se.
Oh no, not in Seattle, but
so fantasy, that's not necessarily where you would have wanted to see him go, but real life, that is a damn good pick for the Seattle Seahawks and adding talent for their quarterback. So I feel like that happened just across the board throughout the league. There was a lot of great real life football picks and really bad fantasy picks.
Yeah. No, I don't think anybody. I mean,
honestly, I think Bijan Robinson legit is the only good real life pick and fantasy pick that came out of this entire draft.
Well, that's because he's going to get the volume.
But that's my point. Like, I think that is literally the only one. There are other places guys could have gone that would have been good for fantasy, maybe not good for real life. But it was the exact opposite this year. And I can't quite remember a draft where that was this true.
That's probably the case.
Now, I'm going to homer out a little bit here. Pinky, reel me in if you think I need to be. One thing that really surprised me, and it has me questioning my own eyes and my own evaluations. And when it comes to the draft, I try to be as unbiased as possible. I leave my Nebraska glasses alone, and I just try to evaluate talent. I honestly believe Trey Palmer is a first-round talent based on the wide receivers in this year's draft. And for him to go in the 6th round to Tampa Bay blew my mind. I personally think, and I'll use this as our leadway into the Broncos so we can finish up with our draft analysis. I honestly believe Trey Palmer is a much better talent than Marvin Mims. And Marvin Mims went the last pick in the 2nd round, and Trey Palmer went in the 6th round. And the only thing I can think of is that Trey Palmer played for a really bad Nebraska team, and people downgraded him because of the team he played for, not because of his actual talent on the field.
I mean, I haven't seen a lot from I love Steve Smith, and Steve Smith does some videos every year about the wide receivers coming out, and most of his analysis is pretty good. I haven't seen if he's done anything about Trey Palmer, but he's done stuff about all the top 5 or 10 wide receivers. And with Marvin Mims, he was just like, that dude was underutilized. Once Caleb Williams left him with a shitty quarterback of Spencer Rattler, there's a drastic difference.
One Spencer Rattler was Gabriel this last year.
Oh, whoever.
Rattler was Gabriel. Actually before Caleb Williams. Williams replaced Rattler, and then Gabriel was this year.
Okay. Gabriel was not very good. So.
He wasn't bad, in all honesty. He wasn't bad, but he's not Caleb Williams.
Right.
In fairness to him.
But Steve Smith loved Mims.
But let's be honest. I don't think it was the quarterback as much as it was you went from Lincoln Riley to I'm going to draw a blank on his name all of a sudden. Brent Venable.
So I still
think he went from an offensive quote-unquote genius in the college realm of offense to Brent Venable. So
I give you shit.
Are hard.
I give you a lot of shit about Nebraska. I think I'm fair with that.
You do, and I take it because
you deserve most of it. You deserve most of it. I agree. Trey Palmer looked like a talent. Speed for days, good at catching the deep ball. I don't think you downgrade a guy for where he's playing. In fact, I think when you see what he does, you go, well, shit, if he had a really good quarterback, he would look really, really good. Texans did okay. I
think they did really good. Cody and I talked about this. We didn't want to like what the Texans did, but we really liked what the Texans did.
Top end, really good. You got 2 of the best players in the draft, period. 2, 3. Perfect. The rest, whatever else you did was just kind of whatever, but the top 2 guys were great. No doubt about that. You got your captain on the offense and you got your captain on the defense. You come out of that draft, you're no matter who else you got, you're happy. You're a
I like what the Texans did, Pablo. So yes, you guys should feel good about what's happening. The problem is you still have your owners that you have. So how good you can feel long-term, I can't say for sure. I think you got a great head coach. I had him at the top of my board to be a Broncos head coach. We got Peyton, so I'm not mad about it. And you got 2 great players at the top of the draft, and I think you filled out talent that are going to be starters at the rest of the draft. So yeah, Pablo, solid. Pinky, sorry. Back to what you're saying about Trey Palmer.
So I think Trey Palmer is a talent. But obviously there was something people were seeing that dropped in the 6th round. Again, and we all know, I don't think of any of the wide receivers in this draft are a number 1 wide receiver. I think they're all good. I think they're good number 2s.
Answer me this, Pinky. If Trey Palmer puts up the numbers he put up at Nebraska, but he does that at Ohio State, Michigan, Clemson, LSU, even Alabama, does he go in the 6th round?
Probably not. He probably gets more coverage, but I think if you're really that good, they find you though, man.
No, come on. The NFL, look, let's be honest. 95% of the NFL scouting and front office is trash.
I mean,
they just are.
Zay Flowers played for Boston College. He didn't play with shit. He got drafted in the 1st round.
He got a ton of media coverage all year. A ton. There is nothing on tape that I see that says Trey Palmer's is worse than Zay Flowers, that's worse than Addison, that's worse than Johnson. Like, I don't see it. I don't see it. And that is not me being a Nebraska guy. That is me saying, looking at the tape and the film, he was literally the only option for the Nebraska offense. And game in and game out, he burned the shit out of people with that defense, knowing that's all they had to cover. And he did it in the Big Ten, where it's widely considered one of the top defensive conferences in the entire country.
Look, I told you, man, I would have drafted Trey Palmer higher. The mock draft simulator I was using this whole, like the last 3 weeks up to the draft, had him ranked 73rd overall.
That's
as a
top of the 3rd
best
round,
player.
Right? I mean, that's what. So and that's just one example, and I'm only using it because, yes, it's a homer. I'm a Nebraska guy. Everybody knows that. Like, but I'm using it as an example of, people want to talk about this draft grade and this guy, and this is where he was ranked, and, oh, that was such a great pick. Transitioning now into the Broncos, because I know Pinky wants to talk about it, and that's how we'll end it today. I did not like the Marvin Mims pick at all. What I saw from him over the last couple of years was not somebody that should have been taken where the Broncos took him, when we have a lot of other needs and there were better players for those needs, and just what I personally thought were better players overall, still on the board waiting.
Well, you're in the minority, because everything I'm reading,
I know
most people are pretty excited about it.
Most people love that pick.
And
I know.
I'll tell you, I like it a lot after I saw NFL Network post their graphic about it, and they compared him to Emmanuel Sanders.
Yeah, people keep saying this, but nobody wants to talk about how he played in the Big 12, which is defensive lacking. And they want to talk about, oh, he had 19 yards per reception career average. He played in a conference that doesn't even play defense.
So when I looked at that comp, the first thing I did was go back and watch Emmanuel Sanders. And then go back and watch the tape on Marvin Mims. There's a lot of good comparisons there. You can see
it. Where did Emmanuel Sanders go to college?
SMU.
So he played on a down team, sort of, in what I believe actually was a better talented conference defensively than the Big 12.
So I just see a guy that can do what the Broncos need him to do. We need a guy that can go deep. I know you're like, whatever. That dude can make some plays on the deep ball. He does.
Okay, Pinky, but here's what I think. And let's be honest with me. Everybody healthy, all things considered, is he a top 3 receiver on this team next year? Is he the guy you're putting in the 3 receiver set? No, he's not. He's the 4th best receiver if everybody's healthy. He's behind Patrick, Sutton, and Judy.
But Sean Payton will get him involved. because he drafted him for a reason. That's the bottom line. I don't agree. I don't disagree with you. He is the fourth in that pecking order, without a doubt.
And
he might be fifth. He might be fifth behind Callaway. Okay.
He might be sixth if Hamler's healthy.
Hamler's done, bro. He's not playing for this team. He's gonna get traded in training camp. If he's healthy, comes back from the PEC, he's done. That's exactly why they drafted this guy. He is done.
I'm just saying, you still got to go through training camp. And Peyton's not a guy who, just because he drafted you, is going to play you. For Peyton, you have to be better. And Hamler and him are the same dude. So if Hamler's healthy, there's a chance Marvin Mims doesn't even see the field to start the season.
And I know how much you don't like George Payton. Sean Payton made George Payton trade up to get this guy.
I know.
So Sean Payton wanted this guy.
I know, and that's why I'm even though I have the thoughts I have, it's hard for me to say it because I know Peyton traded up, wanted him.
Look, Sutton or Patrick will not be on the team after this next season.
I know.
One of those two guys will not be here based on their salary.
Again, and maybe it's just because I am biased. I don't know. But what I saw on tape from Trey Palmer is better than Marvin Mims. And Trey Palmer is faster and bigger. So, again, there are so many reasons I don't like this pick. I thought there were still offensive linemen on the board that the Broncos should have gone after over this wide receiver.
I think you're putting more hate on it than you need to, but if that's what you want to do.
I'm trying not to make it sound hateful. I really am, because I'm just trying to think of the Broncos' needs and what they could do to be a better team next year and win. And Marvin Mims just doesn't fit in that vision for me.
The top three picks were all Sean Payton picks. All of them.
I know. And that's why it's hard for me to say I don't like it, because I know Sean Payton is a hell of a coach. And if he sees something in these guys, it tells me that he's willing to dump other dudes. And just like I said, I think Stidham starts at some point this season over Russell Wilson because Sean Payton really wanted him. And I do not think Sean Payton likes Russell Wilson. It's hard for me to hate on these picks. It just, I didn't like it. I personally didn't like it based on what I thought was still available. Let me ask you this before we go to some of the other picks, because honestly, I like pretty much every pick after Marvin Mims. What is your grade for the Broncos in this draft?
Copying off of the 5280 podcast that I watched before ours, I'm pretty much in the B+ zone myself.
Oof. See, I gave him a C+, and a lot of it has to do with that Marvin Mims pick. I just didn't think it was a need. I didn't think it was a need at all. I think there are offensive linemen, running backs, and some D-line that were still available that would have been just as good talent-wise and better fits for what the Broncos needed.
Unfortunately, you don't know what Sean Payton likes, though. And I don't either. So that's why, again, I'm not using that as a downgrade, because I would have, there's O-linemen I would have drafted that were on the board myself. If Sean Payton saw something in that guy that we can't wait at 67, we have to jump up to 63 to get him, I'm going to give Sean Payton the benefit of the doubt. And when I see the guy, I do. I'm telling you, I rewatched the highlights. He looks like Emmanuel Sanders. I loved Emmanuel Sanders. Loved him.
You are a big Emmanuel Sanders guy. You definitely are. But again, I think I downgrade his talent a little bit because he played in the defensive list Big 12. Plain and simple. He played in the defensive list Big 12. So all these highlights you're seeing, I'm not seeing him as awe-inspiring as maybe some other people.
A majority of the highlights they show, though, he's got a guy right on him and he's jumping up and getting the ball. They're not like he's wide open. He's jumping up and getting the ball.
So maybe it's just because I watch a little bit more college football. You can make anybody's highlight reel look good. They're going to show in your highlight reel, they're going to show that your best place in the season. That doesn't say what your overall season was.
Hey, Will Levis's highlight reel says he should be a top 5 quarterback. We know how that went. Okay.
But that's kind of my point. I don't think Mims is as good as people are trying to make him sound. I like the cornerback pick out of Iowa. I like the linebacker pick out of Arkansas.
Well, hold on. So the next pick was Drew Sanders out of Arkansas, who was a top 5 recruit that played for Alabama. Couldn't really get playing time at Alabama, so he transferred to Arkansas. Senior year, he gets 9.5 sacks. His stats are awesome. His speed, his size, he's 6'4". Like, I got him as an edge player. A lot of people are talking about him inside. I think he's moving to the edge myself.
I agree with that. And I think that's where his talent will show out the best. He's a fast dude for that position. He can go sideline to sideline. You don't put somebody like that stuffed in the middle when he can. This is a bad comparison because I don't think the talent's quite there. But I think he could do some Micah Parsons type things with his ability if put in the right situation. Right. You don't want to stuff him in the middle and be a run blocker when he could be getting after the quarterback and chasing to the sidelines.
I saw him as edge because I don't know if we can trust Randy Gregory. Right, he played the 5 games he played were pretty good,
talent-wise, off the chain. But right? Yeah, availability is a big thing with him for sure.
Baron Browning had some moments that he looked like a game wrecker, and then he would disappear. And then Nick Bonito, had some pass rush, but couldn't play the run. So edge is still a need. So I think that's what they drafted him for. I think they're happy with Singleton and Josie Jewell. Yeah. I don't think they're worried about those 2 guys. I think they want extra edge help.
Agreed. And again, I'm going to keep saying it, Pinky, because I don't think I'm going to be proven wrong. Peyton, as in George, is an average GM at best. The reason we got the free agents we did and the reason this draft was as good as it was is because of our head coach, not the GM.
I think they're doing a collaborative effort, which is a change for George. I loved the press conference was great. Sean Payton was like, yeah, I'm the spender and he's the saver. It's a good relationship. I want to be aggressive and trade up and he wants to trade back. You need some of that. And
that's Sean Payton being amicable because he knows he still has to kind of work with this guy until the ownership dumps his ass.
Maybe he likes the guy. Who
Yo,
knows?
I'm going to be honest. I think Sean Payton looks at that Russell Wilson trade and says, you are a dumbass.
Well, I think we think Sean Payton thinks he can get a decent season from any quarterback. So, because again, coaches always have to be a little confident in their system, right? So,
we'll see.
But they weren't.
We'll see.
They weren't going anywhere with Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill. So
I know for some reason you didn't like the Ross pick, cornerback out of Iowa, but I love that.
Well, no, I think it's just funny because he's a white corner, playing the racism card. There's not been a lot of white corners in the league. There's 2 things you don't draft. You don't draft a white corner or a white running back for the most part, right? Now there's some outliers, right? Christian McCaffrey's an outlier. Toby Gerhart was not an outlier, right? He from Stanford. So these guys' athletic scores are off the chart, though. He doesn't have any issues, and he's a ball hawk. So
he's a ball. He's got great vision for being in the right spot at the right time. He is good, damn good.
And again, if you're playing opposite of Pat Surtain, what's going to happen? The ball's going to come your way. He's going to have opportunities to make plays because the ball's going to come your way. So I don't hate it by any means. I kind of don't like giving up a 3rd-round pick next year. That's what I don't like. But other than that, I don't mind. I always say you got to draft corners. Every draft, you got to get a couple corners. Every draft, you got to get a couple undrafted corners because a couple undrafted corners will turn out to be good. You just have to have them. Period. It's just like O-lineman. Every draft, you should have an O-lineman, and you need
depth. Absolutely.
A couple undrafted guys just to
Bears, are you listening? Bears, are you listening to my boy right now? Dumbass. In the great words of Red Foreman, dumbass.
So I liked I saw Pro Football Focus, Pro Football Network all had the Broncos as the winner of day 2 because they had 3 picks and all 3 picks were rated pretty highly by everybody except for Caleb. Matthew Berry loves Marvin Mims to the Broncos.
A lot of people love Marvin Mims. Again, it's not that I necessarily dislike Marvin Mims. It's that what I saw from his talent and where they took him and what was still on the board didn't line up for me. So while it might sound like I think Marvin Mims is trash, that's not what I'm trying to say.
I'm gonna put that on the list.
The talent of where they drafted him, what was still available, and what I saw from him on tape didn't align.
All right, I got that on the list. JL Skinner. Bro. I don't think, again, Cam Chancellor was freaking awesome as a safety. That dude was amazing. He completed the Legion of Boom.
Oh, yeah.
You had Earl Thomas. You had Richard Sherman. It was Bobby Wagner and Cam Chancellor. Cam
Chancellor was probably the reason the Legion of Boom was the Legion of Boom, in all honesty.
Awesome. JL Skinner has that type of size and speed.
Agreed.
And length as well. Like, he'll come and lay the boom. He'll get good interceptions. Like, his length is crazy. If he had not torn his pec, he doesn't go 6th round.
Sure.
Why he went 6th round with a torn pec, I don't understand. Because it's not like he had a torn ACL. Torn ACL, I get it. Like, maybe he doesn't have the same speed again. Takes longer to rehab. It's a torn pec. Like, that's not going to affect him long term. That didn't make sense to me. You tear a shoulder. Sometimes shoulders don't heal properly. Like, I can understand certain injuries. A torn pec is not really a big deal. So.
Well, so overall, you're giving them a B, as you said?
B+. I actually like the last pick they made. They did trade a pick for Adam Troutman, and then they got the 3rd to last pick in the draft in the trade. They picked a center.
Yep.
In that pick. Now, I saw 3 media guys that had him as the best center in the draft. Jeff Schwartz, who previous O-lineman, literally said this guy will play 10 years in the league and will be a starting center.
Which is, I mean, when you hear stuff like that, and I agree, I think he's a great center. I think the Broncos got a steal there. It just makes you realize how awful NFL scouting departments truly are at times. If there can be that drastic of a difference in people's evaluation of players.
Here's the problem. It's where you value certain positions. Like, the center position is pretty devalued unless you have a shitty one, right? Because you're like, oh, we can draft a guy in the 6th round that can play center well.
Yeah, but it makes no sense to me. Like, that's another thing why a square peg round hole, stupid NFL. Like, the center literally calls out the coverage for the offensive line and where they're blocking. And you're going to devalue that position? Like, that makes no sense to me. Cool, you have a really great left tackle. Maybe the best left tackle in the NFL. But if you have a shitty center, it really doesn't matter. Like, it really doesn't matter how great your left tackle is because the rest of the line is going to be shit because the coverages he's calling out are not correct.
I mean, a lot of centers are usually drafted late. It's a position that doesn't go very high very often. So I'll go back to, you remember one of the, do you know who the best center in Broncos history is? He was on the Super Bowl teams.
Right.
You don't remember Tom Nalen?
Oh my God. Yes. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry. I was drawing a blank. I was just drawing a blank.
What round was he drafted in?
like the 7th or 8th or something like that back in the day when they had a bunch of rounds.
7th round, pick 218.
Yeah. I mean, Mark Schlereth was drafted. Like, wasn't Mark Schlereth drafted in like the 12th round or something stupid like that?
I think I know Mecklenburg was drafted in the 12th. I think Schlereth was drafted in like the 6th. But Mark Schlereth, again, what it comes down to is you can't measure a guy's heart and passion and willing to put in the work.
Right, but you can do your homework and your due diligence and go talk to some people if the scouting department's really good and get a feel for what kind of people they are.
So keep in mind, when he was drafted, there was only 28 teams. So there was 10 rounds.
Right.
He was picked 263 in the 10th round. So he was drafted 6 picks after this guy would have been drafted.
Like, I really want to give the Broncos like a B-, maybe even a B, because I like everything they did after Mims. Like, I do. I like everything they did after Mims. I got to downgrade him a little bit because I don't see receiver as a position of need in any way or form, and I don't see Mims
what you're
being
saying
a game changer, best
what
player
you're
available.
saying is the same reason people are downgrading the Lions draft, and you think the Lions had a pretty good draft.
Well, but
there were other players on the
board. No. The difference is the Lions got game changers. Regardless of where you had them ranked or where you thought they could have been ranked, the Lions got game changers. Absolutely. Gibbs is a game changer. Campbell might be the best linebacker in the draft. They got game changers. I do not think Marvin Mims is a game changer. I think he's an average wide receiver.
Over half of the analysts had Drew Sanders as a better overall linebacker than Jack Campbell.
Look, you can argue
if he drafted him top 20.
The best or this. Campbell is one of the top, if not the top linebackers in the draft. Period. He is. Marvin Mims is not one of the top wide receivers in the draft for me. Again, I think a guy that went in the 6th round in Trey Palmer is a lot better than Marvin Mims. Not just better, a lot better. So
that's foolish. That's foolish.
Sorry, man.
That's foolish.
Talk about this. You
foolish.
Put Marvin Mims on Nebraska, I don't think he has anywhere close to the same numbers as Trey Palmer did.
That's super foolish, bro.
Why?
The gap between them is not much. It's not.
Why?
He's not a lot better than Marvin Mims. Period.
Why?
He's not.
Why?
He's not. It's out there, bro.
What?
He's not.
Says
period.
What? The draft experts in the NFL?
I watched a lot of Trey Palmer after you talked about him and Cameron talked about him. I came away very impressed. I came away liking that guy. I didn't see anything in his tape that said he's way better than Marvin Mims. Could he be better than Marvin Mims? Possibly.
Oklahoma was a much better team than Nebraska. A much better team. The talent around Marvin Mims was much better.
Not last year they weren't.
You had to respect the other receivers on Oklahoma. You didn't have to respect the other receivers on Nebraska.
Gabriel and Venables suck, bro. So
Gabriel
they were not
was
a lot
really good,
better.
dude. What are you talking about? Gabriel was really good last year. He wasn't great, but he was really good. Casey Thompson was not really good. Casey Thompson was average at best for Nebraska.
No Nebraska quarterbacks are good. We know this.
Oh, not since Eric Crouch.
That's a long time, bro. Most of the people that are watching weren't even alive back then.
A long time. But this is what I'm saying. Position for position, player for player, Oklahoma was a lot better than Nebraska. You drop Marvin Mims on Nebraska and you drop Trey Palmer on Oklahoma, you see very different players. I'm not very different from Trey Palmer. You still see a great player from Trey Palmer. You do not see great or good from Marvin Mims on Nebraska. That's my take. You're
completely hating on one guy to lift up your guy. You're doing a Joel Embiid, bro.
No, I'm not. Why? How am I doing that?
Because you're downplaying one guy to lift up your guy.
No.
There's no need for it.
No, I'm not. I am not downgrading. No, I'm not. I am not upping Trey Palmer to ruin Marvin Mims. I'm saying if you switch the guys and put them on each other's team, one still looks really good and the other one does not. And that's simply because of their talent. That's how I see it. Marvin Mims is a fast dude. That's what I see. I don't see an exceptional route runner. I don't see somebody who can play on the outside. I see a slot guy. And there's a dime a dozen slot guys in the NFL. I think Trey Palmer can play every position at the wide receiver. He's faster than Marvin Mims based on his 40 at the combine, and he's bigger. That's what I'm saying.
His 40 was not that much faster.
It's still faster.
We're talking milliseconds.
It doesn't matter. It's faster. And people are trying to talk Marvin Mims like he's some kind of over-the-top dude. That's just what I'm saying, Pinky. That's what I see.
I don't think the gap is that big, bro.
You're
making it sound like they're like this.
You put Marvin Mims on Nebraska. You think he still goes in the bottom of the second?
Bro, I wouldn't put anybody on Nebraska. Nebraska sucks dick.
Answer my question. If Marvin Mims was on Nebraska last year, does he go the bottom of the second? Is he being talked about the same way?
Possibly. Who knows?
No,
I don't think you should be
hating.
Because your team sucks dick doesn't mean you should downgrade another guy.
I'm not downgrading him. I'm saying if he was on a worse team, you wouldn't have seen anything spectacular from him.
Maybe Trey Palmer doesn't look as good if he has better guys on his team. We don't know.
What? You're telling me talent wouldn't show out if he had better players around him?
Possibly not, because other guys are still eating.
What?
There was nobody on that team to eat other than Trey Palmer. Period.
That's why he's so good, because he put up huge numbers and everybody keyed on him. That's like saying Devontae Smith wasn't that good at Alabama because he had talent around him. Jackson Smith and Jigba, Marvin Harrison aren't that good because they have talent around them. That's not how this works, Pinky.
That's a completely different conversation. Trey Palmer's not even on that type of level.
So. I think he is. I honestly believe
he's not on that level.
If he was on Ohio State last year, Trey Palmer goes in the first round. That's what I honestly believe.
No.
Why?
I don't see that.
You, of all people who hate Nebraska, watched his tape and texted me and goes, damn, actually, that guy's good.
Right. He is good. I still think he's good.
So if he was on a really good team, he would have showed out even more.
He's not going first round.
We won't know. And now he's playing with Baker Mayfield, so he's even more screwed than he already was.
He's screwed. Yeah, bro, we're not going to hear from him. It's fine. The Broncos can try to pick him up after he gets cut. It'll be fine.
Oh, my goodness. So, all right, any final draft thoughts? This is like one of the longest shows we've ever had, and it went by quick, it feels like.
We got to digest it a little bit. There's always that overreaction. Got to digest it. Got to see what happens. Unfortunately, we won't have any more like the major football talk after this is when the schedule releases. We can kind of talk about, so and so's playing XYZ.
That's next week.
Did they put a date out yet?
Yeah, May 5th, May 6th. What did I see? Something like that.
That's this weekend, bro.
Yeah, it's like a week after the draft is what I saw.
I saw them starting to do promos on it, but they didn't have a date on it.
Look it up real quick. I'm telling you.
I'm looking right now.
Fade, you're kidding, right? That's sarcasm. That's got to be sarcasm.
Dude, are you serious?
Fade, are you out of your mind? They definitely should have paid that dude. He's only getting better.
Look, I don't like. I'm not a big fan of.
Hates what I call dual threat, what he calls running quarterbacks, and even Pinky thinks he should have been paid like he did.
Absolutely. He runs that quick game. He's a game changer for them. They've got a good team.
What? Fade. You crazy, man.
Bro.
Did you not see that man ball out last year?
Fade, bro. He's the number one quarterback in the NFC. He's the number one quarterback in the NFC.
Fade. Newsflash. That's every good quarterback in the NFL. If you don't have a decent offensive line and you don't have weapons around you, you're not going to look good.
So,
period. Josh Allen looked like shit before they got Stephen Diggs.
Fade, let's be honest. Mahomes is like the best quarterback in the league, right? I mean, can we agree on that?
He's absolutely the best quarterback in the NFC right now.
All right. Yeah, absolutely. We agree, Caleb. Ching ching. Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league right now because when his O-line doesn't protect him, which they don't for the most part, and he runs back 15 yards, he can chuck it down the field. When his legs go, that's going to be a problem.
Fade, you mean when he had zero offensive weapons? Goddard was hurt half the year. Their running game was banged up. Of course he's not going to look good. Like
they traded Ertz. They only had Devontae Smith. They didn't have A.J. Brown yet.
Goddard was out most of the year or half the year. Like, yeah, dude, that's every quarterback in the league. Josh Allen was almost being talked about as a bust before they got Stephen Diggs.
Dude, he was awful his first 2 years. Awful.
They're not playing the way Jalen Hurts did last year, my guy. There's a handful of quarterbacks in the league, most of them in the AFC right now, that can play at the same. Jalen Hurts was being talked about as the MVP before he got hurt. Like,
Fade.
Give your man some credit. You guys have a great quarterback, and you should be
I got to talk this guy off the ledge here. Fade, I guarantee you can put almost any quarterback in the league behind that team, and they make the playoffs. But only, like, not many could they make the Super Bowl. Hurts got him to the Super Bowl, and it was only his third season. I don't understand the hate.
You don't want to believe in Wentz, that's fine. Like, I'm not going to hate on that. But Hurts is a different breed. Hurts is not a Wentz. Nobody's talking about him being a cancer in the locker room. Nobody's talking about him being hard to coach. No, you're not making a mistake with Hurts, my guy. I had to talk Pinky into liking Hurts, and then last year Pinky came around. Like, Hurts is a beast, and he's only getting better.
And again, it's easy to get better when you have good coaching and a good team around you.
But that's the history of the NFL. You don't have talent and a good coach, you're not going to do anything in the NFL, and you'll flame out.
There's no way. Again, things happen. It's a long season. There's no way the Eagles don't make the playoffs next season. And that's what you want, right?
I'm confused. Hurts has never played bad. Like, he's never played bad. His
first year was average. I wouldn't call it
but he had
bad.
Not really that much talent around him. Let's be honest. Baker Mayfield had more talent around him when he came into the league, and Baker Mayfield looked like trash for the most part. Hurts has never looked that way. And Fade, if you go look at that contract, Hurts did the Eagles a huge favor because it is a crazy team-friendly deal the way it's structured to allow them to continue to put pieces around him.
Fade, contracts don't, like the salary cap, and I've learned this from Caleb, this shit doesn't fucking matter, bro. This shit doesn't matter. They will figure it out. They rework contracts. They give people cash. They move money around. It doesn't matter, bro. Like, the Eagles have old talent that they're replacing with new talent. The Eagles are fucking set.
Pinky, what's the salary cap? What's the salary cap?
Imaginary.
That's right, my guy. Cheers. Cheers.
Yeah, but besides Lane Johnson and A.J. Brown right now, they're not really paying anybody. It is. It totally is. If you have cash and you make good trades and you do a good job of replacing players on their way out, you're fine. The Eagles are fine. If you want to hate on your Eagles, bro, just pick another team. Like, it's cool, man. You can change teams.
Philadelphia fans are wild, dude. Philadelphia fans are wild. Like, as a Broncos fan, I feel like I have a legit reason to question them. I don't know how an Eagles fan could be questioning the Eagles right now. That blows my mind. But Faye, keep coming back, man. We appreciate the support. We'll chop it up with you every single time. But that's a wild take to me, dude. That's a wild take.
Fade.
The salary cap, Fade. salary cap's imaginary.
Fade.
If you're good, if you've got a good
your argument,
department, you can move those figures any way you want with the way you can do signing bonuses and guaranteed money and extending contracts and pushing it out to next year. That's an imaginary number, baby.
Fade, how are you trying to make the Chiefs giving up Tyreek Hill a bad thing? They won the Super Bowl without him. It's not like they flamed out and didn't make the playoffs. Hurts is the best QB in the NFC, period.
No. The Hill thing doesn't show the cap is real, Fade. They just didn't want to pay him that because they thought they could replace the talent elsewhere. If you really listen to Andy Reid talk about it, it had nothing to do with the dollars and cents, man. It had everything to do with they didn't think they needed to pay him to continue their talent run. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, but Fade, they're not successful because of Hill. They're successful because of Travis Kelce and Mahomes.
Chiefs thought they could win without him and spend the money elsewhere. That's what it came down to.
And they did.
Yeah.
And they won. It's not, again, the salary cap does matter. The salary cap is real.
And if you want to talk about, Fade, let's be honest, last thought here, and we'll probably get running. You want to talk about quarterback deals. Mahomes' deal and Hurts' deal are very similar the way they're set up to be team-friendly. They look like huge numbers, but when you really break down the way they're structured and the way they're paid out, they are extremely team-friendly deals that allow them, over the course of the deal, to continue to put pieces around both players.
Okay, last question for Fade, and then we definitely got to leave because this is really long. If it's not Hurts, anybody else in the NFC, who do you want? Anybody else in the NFC. You can take any quarterback from the NFC. Who do you want?
My mind is so blown right now, Pinky. I never thought I'd hear a Philly fan. This is blowing my mind.
I don't mind a guy not drinking the Kool-Aid. That's fine.
Who are you going to draft at 10 this year that is better than Hurts?
The three best guys were already gone. You're going to take Hendon Hooker? You're going to take Will Levis?
And to be perfectly honest with you, Fade, the only quarterback in this draft that I would have rather had than Hurts, and it's solely based on possible potential, was Richardson. I wouldn't have taken Young or Stroud over Hurts.
Well, I don't think we can help get Fade off that ledge. So we're gonna let him stand on that island by himself.
I think he's already jumped off the ledge. Yo, Fade, we just see it differently. That's all. And the fact that, I'll be honest, if you listen to us more, the fact that Pinky and I agree on this, it is a rarity. It is a rarity.
Hold on. So this week, during my draft week, we do my other league, one of my other redraft leagues that I'm in, held they picked the names and picked the draft order while I was gone. They did a draft order and a poker night. I got the phone call. I could have the second pick or anything else. It was like 1 and 3 were taken. I could have the second pick or anything else. I picked second and put Hurts on the board. Like, I'm taking Hurts, period. If Mahomes is gone, I'm taking Hurts. Period.
Fade, I'm going to tell you right now. I hope in 2 or 3 years, Pinky and I are still doing this and you're still listening to us, and you and us can revisit this in 2 or 3 years and see where Hurts really is. And to be perfectly honest with you, if we were wrong, Pinky and I will gobble down a plate of crow. It's not anything new to us. We don't like doing it, but we will do it.
All right.
But
so, Kale, what we're going to do
at
our Sports Nonsense and Whiskey Bar, we're going to have like a really shitty shot, and it's going to be called Eating Crow.
No, we're going to have a dish. We're going to have a dish that's called crow. We're going to have an actual meal of crow that people are going to come in to eat because their friends told them they were wrong.
I shot better. That way it's quick and rather painless.
Yeah, Pinky likes to just get it over with. But no, we're gonna have a plate of crow that you're gonna have to eat. But yeah, Fade, I hope in 2 or 3 years we're still doing this. You're still listening to us, and we can revisit it then and see what happens.
2023.
Pinky, as always, I appreciate you, my guy. You got any final thoughts?
We're a long way from football. We're about to go into the dead season. After the schedule releases, we're dead. And then after basketball and the hockey playoffs finish, we're just got baseball. Holy crap. Go Braves. Go Braves.
That's a tough place to be. As always, you have an opportunity. Cherish the moments. Do not let them go by. Spend that time with your family, your friends, your loved ones, anyone close, anyone you consider to be in your inner circle. Do not take those things for granted. We love all you guys. We appreciate the support. We can't thank you enough. Like, follow, share, subscribe, all that good stuff.
Check out the other podcasts on the network.
You know it. Till next time, we're out.